Chapter 1060. Chen Zhao stared at the mountain of food. Abidos needs to strengthen his bloodline, so he needs to eat some special food. Is it useful for other dragons? Chen Zhao asked. Do any of your friends in the human world have dragon bloodline? Yes, they have fire dragon bloodline too. No. Zhou shook his head. Zhou shook his head. These things are poisonous to others. Without a strong enough bloodline, you can't eat them. Abidos is my and Oris's son. He has both our bloodlines, especially the glutton bloodline. It can resist all poisons, so he has a strong enough resistance. Zhou shook his head. Zhou shook his head. That's right, Zhou. So, your bloodline is dominant. Yes. Chen Zhao had heard from Beelzebub that gluttons couldn't be poisoned. They could devour everything. Chen Zhao had thought that he could help Gaia and get some of this strengthening food. Now, it seemed that this idea was impossible to realize. Just then, Jessica came to Chen Zhao with a group of banshees. Chen Zhao suddenly saw a familiar face. Jessie. Jessie saw Chen Zhao too. Chen. Mr. Chen. Why are you here? Shut up. Jessica glared at Jessie. You have to show enough respect to the living lord. You have to call him lord. Jessie's face was pale. Chen Zhao could tell that she hadn't been having a good time recently. Living lord, do you know this soul? Yes, sort of. Chen Zhao nodded. Should I give her to you? No, Chen Zhao said calmly. I'm not that familiar with her. This woman was truly a troublemaker. Chen Zhao had already learned from Lisa about Jessie's stupid behavior. She only had herself to blame for being in such a situation. Hearing Chen Zhao's words, Jessie was even more disappointed. She'd thought that Chen Zhao would help her out. Unfortunately, Chen Zhao wasn't that kind. Of course, Chen Zhao didn't plan to kick her when she was down. Jessica, why is she here? Chen Zhao asked curiously. I bought her from a soul merchant, Jessica said. I plan to turn her into a new banshee. Chen Zhao recalled that Pamela had also tried to turn into a banshee, but she hadn't succeeded. Jessica, how do we transform a banshee? Jessica looked at him and said, Living Lord, are you going to rear a banshee? No, I have a subordinate who has always wanted to transform into a banshee, but failed. In order to transform into a banshee, I first need a large amount of pure soul shards. I need to let my spirit body absorb the power of the soul shards, and then soak myself in withered leaf flower for 13 days. The process of transforming into a banshee was very complicated. Jessica's explanation was very detailed, but Chen Zhao only understood a little. Jessica, write me a report of the process. Yes, Living Lord. If there are any special materials that can only be found in the infernal realm, mark them down. It would be best if you can prepare a few portions for me. Do you need a way to control the banshee? My men are loyal enough to me. I don't really need them. Chen Zhao didn't really want to use this method to control Pamela. Living Lord, how many demonesses do you want to transform? The transformation process sounds very complicated. I don't plan on making many. Living Lord, if you have enough spirit subordinates, you can consider transforming one into a shrieking banshee, like me. Then, you can transform some regular banshees. Transform into something like you. Are you sure you can transform them directly? Living Lord, even shrieking banshees have different levels of power. I'm already 1,200 years old, so the shrieking banshees you just transformed can't reach my level. Jessica was a mid-level demon. Regular spirits couldn't compare to her. Of course, she didn't have physical attacks, but her soul attacks were probably at the same level as Blackie's. Okay, then we'll do as you say. I'll give you the specific transformation process. If there's anything you don't understand, you can summon me. After all, you have my demonic ritual implement. Okay. After Chen Zhao received the Banshee transformation process that Jessica had copied for him, it was time. He left the infernal realm and returned to the human world. On the second day, Chen Zhao went to the headquarters of the association. One of you, call Pamela over. A while later, Pamela arrived before Chen Zhao. President, you're looking for me. This is for you. Chen Zhao handed a magic scroll to Pamela. This is. Haven't you been trying to transform into a banshee? This is the specific process. Take a look and ask West for the materials you need. If West doesn't have them, tell me. Pamela was shocked. Shrieking banshee. Yes, a high-level banshee, Chen Zhao said. There shouldn't be a problem with the process. I got it from another high-level shrieking banshee. There are real shrieking banshees in the world. You don't have to worry about that. Hurry up and increase your power. After all, you're the backbone of the supernatural organization, but your presence has always been weak. You can't even use the Tower of Trials. Also, choose some obedient female evil spirits and transform them into regular banshees. Yes, President. I'll give you the method to control banshees, but don't cause any trouble. Pamela didn't dare to do anything before Chen Zhao. In her opinion, Chen Zhao could turn her into a shrieking banshee and also give her the method to control them without reservation. This meant that Chen Zhao had a better way to control them. Pamela originally thought that banshees couldn't be killed. But now, she didn't think so. Chen Zhao had killed many monsters. For example, Demon King Abaddon. He was the messenger of plagues and diseases. He was many levels higher than banshees. But Chen Zhao still killed him just like that. Chen Zhao could probably kill a mere banshee if he wanted to. Oh, West, how's the magic potion going? I've gathered most of the materials. Now, I just need the bones of magical creatures. Chen Zhao took out the bones of a magical creature. This skeleton might have been more powerful than Chen Zhao when it was alive. Even though it was just a skeleton, it still gave off a chilling aura. Oh, President, Halise seems a bit off these 2 days when you weren't here. What happened to her? Is she sick? Not sick, West said. She seems to be affected by Nasimarazole. Ever since she used it, she's been having nightmares. She seems to be haunted by something. After all, they were spiritualists, so they knew that certain things existed. Chapter 1061. West brought Chen Zhao to Heliai's room. Alice and Norma were with Heliai's. Heliai's was in a bad state. Her eyes were lifeless. Of course, the smoky makeup that she usually put on didn't look energetic either. President. When the 3 girls saw Chen Zhao and West walk in, they immediately stood up. Heliai's, I heard that you're not in a good state, so I came to see you, Chen Zhao said. Alice, Norma, are you here to take care of Heliai's? We're here to check on her, Alice said. I want to see her dream, Norma said. Maybe I can find the problem in her dream. Did you find it? Norma shook her head. No, I can't see through the mist in her dream. Norma's nightmare bloodline gave her the ability to peek into other people's dreams. However, this ability wasn't omnipotent. Not everyone's dream could be seen. Chen Zhao walked up to Heliai's and said gently, don't resist. Okay. Chen Zhao tapped Heliai's forehead with his finger. Go to sleep. Instantly, a wave of sleepiness surged and Heliai's sank into a strong drowsiness. She closed her eyes and fell asleep on the bed. Chen Zhao waited by Heliai's side for half an hour, but Heliai's didn't react at all. At least, Chen Zhao's cursed eye didn't react at all. If Healy Eyes was cursed, Chen Zhao would be able to feel it. However, Chen Zhao's cursed eye didn't react. This meant that Healy Eyes wasn't cursed. There were all kinds of magic in the world. Curses were only a small part. Chen Zhao shook his head. She's not cursed. It's not in the dream that disturbed her, Norma said. Maybe it's from the bloodline. Alice raised a point of view. President, there's a type of bloodline magic. When your strength reaches a certain level, the bloodline magic will activate, and you'll be able to see some scenes left behind by your ancestors in your bloodline. In essence, this power isn't a curse, but an inheritance. However, not all inheritances are good. As the Encyclopedia of Magic, Alice offered her own opinion. But the effect of Noxamarazole is the result of using it, West said. I think we might have fallen into some kind of misunderstanding. Actually, this effect isn't caused by Noxamarazole. It's caused by Hallie's power reaching a certain level. Coincidentally, she saw some scenes, which made us think that Noxamarazole was sending her information. Actually, this information already existed in her. Now that you mention it, Guild Leader, I think it's possible. After all, Guild Leader, Norma, Gaia, and Henry have all used the Noxamara before, but none of them had any special effects. Chen Zhao thought for a moment and said, but what kind of message are the things hidden in Helis' bloodline sending? President, West asked seriously, looking at Chen Zhao, can you be sure that Helis isn't cursed? Sure. Chen Zhao nodded. Are you sure? Not only am I immune to all curses, but I can also devour all curses. To me, any curse is a source of mana. Do you have any objections? When everyone looked at Chen Zhao, their gazes changed. They had never heard of a spell that could be immune to all curses and devour them. This spell was like a god spell. So far, the 4 pristine eyeballs that Chen Zhao had opened were the Eye of Curse, the Eye of Shadow, the Eye of Power, and the Eye of Lightning. Among them, the one that could increase his combat power the most was undoubtedly the Eye of Power. The other 3 pristine eyeballs didn't increase his combat power that much, but they were still very useful. The Eye of Curse could devour any curse to replenish his own mana. It was a perfect counter to curse-type enemies. The Eye of Shadow could see through all obscure and dark sights. Even if the enemy was invisible, they wouldn't be able to escape Chen Zhao's notice. The Eye of Lightning went without saying. It was the perfect counter to lightning-type enemies. West, if you have something to say, just say it. Since it's not a curse, there's an 80% chance that the information in Helis' bloodline has been opened, West said. This is called the Ancestors' Guidance, Alice added. Alice added, it's very likely that this information is useful. It's for the child to go to some ancestral land. That's right. That's probably Helis' situation right now. If she resists, this mental torture will haunt her for the rest of her life. Chen Zhao thought about it and glanced at Helis on the bed. Then he snapped his fingers. Wake up. Helis suddenly woke up from her dream. President. I saw it again. That scene. Countless people were thrown into the blood pool. Helis' face was pale and there were tears in the corners of her eyes. Do you know where it is? Chen Zhao asked. The place in your dream. In the depths of the sea, stars. There's a red star above. It's crossing the sky. Is there more information? Helis racked her brain to think. After a while, Helis suddenly said, right, the moon. The moon rose from the sea. Those who are still alive, they are, worshipping the moon. Just then, Lisa walked in. President, maybe I know the general direction. Oh. You know. The red star crossing the sky should be referring to Comet Betos. It was first discovered in 1860 and is discovered every 159 years. The next time it appears is this year, and it will be in 4 days. As long as we establish the periodic trajectory of Comet Betos, we can know the position of the Moon when Comet Betos appeared near Earth 6,000 years ago. Then, we can know the vertical line of the Moon's rise and set. From there, we can calculate the location of the place that Helios mentioned. 4 days. What a coincidence. Chen Zhao frowned. It's not a coincidence, West said. Maybe it's all fate or the result of a prophet's calculation. Then prepare and see who's willing to go, Chen Zhao said. President, do you mean mobilize everyone? No, just sign up. Those who want to go can go. Those who don't can stay at the headquarters. Of course, Lisa, you have to go. I'm planning to go too, Lisa said. Chapter 1062. Risa's treatment was clearly different from Helios's. Risa was still an outsider, but Helios was an official member. Although Helios was usually a loner, she had a good relationship with the girls in the association. Helios's loner was just that she didn't like to talk, but it didn't mean that she had to keep strangers away. Generally speaking, girls all had common topics to talk about. The reason why Helios was a loner was because of the environment she grew up in. In the past, she was alone. When she was in school, everyone thought that Helios was a weirdo. Even her teacher thought that she was an unhealthy girl. But here, everyone was like her. No one would reject her. Everyone was willing to be with her. They had common topics, common pursuits, and common interests. She didn't need to hide herself anymore. She didn't need to change herself by trying to fit in. She could be herself completely. The more outstanding she was, the more attention she would receive. This was her true home. She liked Chen Zhao, the association, and everyone here. A while later, Aduz ran in. President, I heard that you're going out to sea, right? I want to sign up. Sign up my ass. Just stay at the headquarters. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. Pamela's at a critical moment. She needs someone to protect her. It's a very difficult mission. President, I know how to sail and sail, Aduz said. When I was young, I was a sailor. You don't have to worry about that. Just stay here and watch the house, Chen Zhao said firmly. Klaus and the others can sail too. No matter how Aduz pestered him, Chen Zhao rejected him firmly. After a few steps out of Helios' room, Gaia came to find him. Chen, I want to sign up this time. You stay here too, Chen Zhao said. Why? Watch the house. How can Aduz do it alone? The association won't send anyone. Aduz alone is enough. It's different. Pamela plans to transform me into a banshee. She won't be able to protect herself in the process. There'll always be a few restless ones in the evil spirit group. You need to stay and intimidate them. No room for negotiation. Chen Zhao nodded. Listen to me this time. All right. Chen Zhao called Klaus and his team into a room. Klaus, you need to come with us this time, Chen Zhao said. Okay, no problem. Gaia and Klaus' lightning squad were the only ones in the association who knew how to sail. If Klaus stayed in the society, he wouldn't be able to take care of Pamela, so Gaia had to stay. This time, they weren't going out for a vacation. They might have to go on a long voyage, so it was impossible for them to drive a yacht. Of course, they also needed professional sailors. Otherwise, they might not even be able to start the ship. Chen Zhao took out 6 strength potions and placed them on the table. This is a strength potion. It doesn't have any side effects. You will be able to reach the limits of the human body. Your strength, speed, and reflexes will all be greatly improved. As official members of the association, you should enjoy the benefits of the association. However, the magic potion is useless to you, so I specially prepared this for you. Of course, if you have to talk about the side effect, it should be that your appetite will increase by several times, or even 10 times. Klaus and his lightning team all stared at Chen Zhao with shining eyes. At this moment, they finally felt like they had truly become a member of the supernatural organization. This voyage might be dangerous, so you must have the ability to protect yourselves. President, we understand. From the moment we joined the supernatural organization, we knew what we were going to face. Okay, take the strength potion as soon as possible. Get used to the changes in your body in the next 2 days. We'll leave the day after tomorrow. Yes, President. Laurent, when are you and Winnip going back to Sacramento? You really want to chase me away? No, I want you to stay, Chen Zhao said. What? Laurent almost thought that he was deaf and had misheard Chen Zhao. Or was Chen Zhao hatching some earth-shattering scheme to keep him in L forever? Laurent shuddered. Chen, stop joking. Winnip and I plan to leave tomorrow. We don't need you to send us. I might have to go on a business trip for a few days tomorrow. I hope you can stay for a few more days and keep Fei Lai company. Chen Zhao still revealed his goal. How many days are you going? I'm not sure. That's why I need you to keep Fei Lai company. So, you're begging me, right? Don't threaten me with this. You don't want Fei Lai to be alone, right? Whatever, I'll let you go. Laurent pursed his lips. I'll reluctantly stay and take care of Fei Lai for a few days. Chen Zhao still had to make some arrangements for his work. Kohler, do you have time now? Chen Zhao called Kohler. Mr. Chen, I have time now. What's the matter? I'll treat you now. I have to go on a business trip in the next few days, so I'll treat you in advance. Alright, then you can come over now. When Chen Zhao arrived at Kohler's house, Ruby was there too. Hey, brother, you're here. Ruby walked up and bumped shoulders with Chen Zhao. Hey, your shoulders are so hard. If I had shoulders as hard as yours, I'd be invincible on the court. Did you just finish a match? You look so weak, Chen Zhao said. Yes, you can tell. Do you want me to relieve your soreness and tiredness? One session costs $100,000. That's so expensive. How's the effect? I can guarantee that you'll be in perfect condition. Mr. Chen, I called you here. Shouldn't you treat me first? There's no rush. You've been injured for 2 or 3 days, so there's no rush. Ruby's different. After the match, his lactic acid will be broken down by his cells. This will deplete the activity of his cells, so I'll treat him first. The better he'll recover. How about you give me free treatment this time? Ruby asked. I'll try the effect first. If it's good, I'll find you again in the next match. No, I always set a clear price. Plus, I'm confident in my abilities. If you don't believe me, then forget it. Don't expect me to treat you for free. Chen Zhao wasn't familiar with Ruby, so he obviously wouldn't treat him for free. Fine, $100,000, right? I'll take it. Damn, your asking price is too high. Chapter 1063. Ruby realized that white dots had started oozing out of his skin. These white dots were in the form of mucus and were very viscous. What is this mucus? Ruby wiped it with his hand. This is lactic acid, Chen Zhao said. Lactic acid is secreted by muscles during intense activity. It's also the reason for your soreness after intense exercise. But lactic acid will be used up by the cells. After it's used up, the soreness will also disappear. Is there a way to stop the secretion of lactic acid? There is, but you can't do that. Lactic acid secretion is necessary because it can repair the damage to your muscles. At the same time, it can remind your body of its load. Without lactic acid secretion, you might be able to become a Superman in a game, but after the game, your career will also end. Is it okay to force the lactic acid out now? Do you exercise now? Ruby shook his head. Chen Zhao continued, also, I'm forcing out the lactic acid you secreted during the game. If you continue to exercise now, you'll still secrete lactic acid. I'm only forcing the extra lactic acid out of your body, not stopping it. I understand. Does that mean that you can help me relieve my tiredness every time it ends? Chen Zhao pinched Ruby's biceps and said, it depends on the situation. Lactic acid isn't harmful. If you ran the entire race, it's not suitable to force it out. Also, I can give you a diet that can greatly increase your post-race recovery. Sure, how much? I don't need your money, but you have to promise me one thing. You better ask for money, Ruby answered Chen Zhao, not daring to answer casually. After all, he didn't know what Chen Zhao's request was. Although he wasn't very smart, he knew that some things couldn't be easily agreed to. I'm a professor at UCLA. My school will have a sports competition soon. I'm the leader of the team. You can go and teach a few lessons for my school's basketball team. The NBA represented the highest level of basketball in the world. Basketball players who could enter the NBA, even if they were just substitutes, were considered top players in other competitions. Moreover, Ruby was a top star in the NBA. Therefore, Chen Zhao believed that if Ruby could teach a few lessons for the basketball club, if he told them his experience, they would grow a lot. Just a few classes. Of course, I won't ask you to do anything else. Outside of training and games, Ruby said. No problem. Sure, do I need to sign a contract? No, it's a verbal agreement, Chen Zhao said. But I've never been a good person. I hate it when people break their promises. Of course, I understand. It's just a few lessons. I won't go so far as to break my promise. After treating Ruby to relieve muscle fatigue, Chen Zhao treated Kohler. Chen Zhao had treated Kohler once before, so Kohler was familiar with it. After leaving Kohler's house, he went straight home. He told Fei Lai that he would be away for a few days. The next day, Chen Zhao went to school again. Robert, I found a professional player. In 2 days, he will come over to the school to guide the basketball club players. He will contact you when he comes. You will be responsible for the arrangements. Understood, Mr. Chen. Ever since Robert was taught a lesson by Chen Zhao, he behaved like a grandson before Chen Zhao. Actually, Robert was Chen Zhao's punishment to warn the others. The people in school were usually polite to him, but there weren't many who truly obeyed him. Many PE teachers in the sports department objected to Wright's decision to make Chen Zhao the team leader. If Chen Zhao hadn't taught him a lesson, Robert would have been dead. If Chen Zhao hadn't taught him a lesson, more coaches and PE teachers would probably band together to pressure the school. By then, Wright would probably be forced to remove Chen Zhao as the team leader. Chen Zhao didn't care about being the team leader, but he didn't like being chased away. Ever since Chen Zhao taught Robert a lesson in a domineering manner, he had a nickname. Chen Zhao also had a nickname, Tyrant. Of course, those who had formed an alliance in secret had also ceased all activities. However, Chen Zhao felt that this nickname suited him quite well. Just then, Chen Zhao saw Tiger walk over. Hi, Mr. Chen. Tiger, congratulations. You won last year's WBA championship belt. Chen Zhao walked over and patted Tiger's arm. Mr. Chin, it's all because of your training. Tiger was successful now. However, he knew that it was all because of Qin Zhao's help that he could achieve what he had today. Of course, he also knew that he didn't have the right to betray Qin Zhao. The consequences of betraying Qin Zhao were very serious. Qin Zhao's achievements weren't as simple as crippling Douglas. Qin Zhao had crippled or killed more than a dozen underground dealers right in front of him. Tiger could still clearly remember what happened that night. Even though Tiger was the new boxing champion now, he wouldn't be so naive to think that he was Qin Zhao's match. Even Gaia might not be able to beat him, let alone Qin Zhao. Tiger, why are you here? Tiger hadn't finished his studies yet, but he'd already taken a year off. The principal told me to come back. She told me that you're the team leader for the sports meet and also wants me to participate in the boxing competition. There's a boxing competition in the sports meet? Qin Zhao asked in shock, his mouth open. Yes. The boxing competition this time has sponsors and is being broadcasted on TV. It's quite big too. Qin Zhao didn't expect the American University sports meet to be so commercialized. Other than that, the swimming competition seems to have sponsors too. Tiger also knew that Evely had been trained by Qin Zhao. Tiger hoped that he could become the next Evely, the new legend of the boxing world. A new legend in the boxing world. To achieve this goal, he needed Qin Zhao's support. Have you been training at school recently? Yes. Tiger nodded. Mr. Qin, do you have time to train me? Not these days, Qin Zhao said. I'm going out for a few days. Let's talk when I come back. Okay. Oh, some people in school aren't satisfied with me as the team leader. Help me keep an eye on them. Mr. Qin, I'll help you teach those blind bastards a lesson. Tiger was the leader of the boxing club and the students in school. Not many people dared to argue with him. No need. Just write it down for me. I'll teach them a lesson when I come back. Okay, got it. Just then, Qin Zhao saw Li Qiong not far away. There was another girl beside her. She should also be a student. Chapter 1064. Li Qiong also saw Qin Zhao and walked up. Qin Zhao, why are you here? I'm a teacher here. Your teacher? Li Qiong looked at Qin Zhao in shock. She'd heard that Qin Zhao was a teacher. Then, she used her imagination. She thought that Qin Zhao was either a primary school teacher or a middle school teacher. Of course, this was based on Qin Zhao's high school grades. Qin Zhao and Li Qiong's grades had been about the same. They were both the type of people who weren't as good as the best but were better than the worst. Therefore, she didn't believe that Qin Zhao was a lecturer in a university. Moreover, it was the famous University of Los Angeles. After all, he'd lived here for more than 10 years. So, Li Qiong had a good understanding of American universities. Usually, regular university lecturers were assistant professors. In China, they were also called teaching assistants. However, teaching assistants in American universities were on contract and could be fired at any time. In America, to become a permanent associate professor, one had to publish at least one book in a related field. Usually, it was published in a university press and professional professors would be in charge of reviewing the manuscript. As long as one could become an associate professor, they'd be awesome. The school couldn't fire them without a good reason. Therefore, universities were filled with many associate professors. Many of them were old. In China, they had to retire at a certain age, but in America, as long as one wasn't an associate professor and didn't want to retire, the school couldn't fire them. Retirement meant a decrease in income. An associate professor's income was very high. Of course, to become a full professor, one had to have research results in at least one field. Special talents like Qin Zhao, who was recognized by the school, had to be a full professor. A full professor's income was several times, or even more than a dozen times that of a teaching assistant. A full professor could use the school's funds to do whatever they wanted. They could give a few lectures and do research in the lab when they didn't want to. There was no rule that they had to do research until noon. Of course, the school's funds couldn't be spent casually. If there was an economic benefit and the possibility of research, the school would strongly support it. If it was just a dream, they could fool the school once, but they might not be able to fool the school again. Chen Zhao didn't care about this kind of salary. After all, treating a rich person's illness was equivalent to a professor's annual income. Of course, Li Qiong only thought that Chen Zhao was a regular lecturer and didn't think too deeply. After hearing that Chen Zhao was a teacher here, Li Qiong couldn't help but think highly of him. "Why are you here?" "My sister is a student here," Li Qiong said. Chen Zhao tilted his head and looked at the girl behind Li Qiong. She looked a bit like Li Qiong, but she was taller. The girl seemed to be somewhat unwilling, and her face was filled with unhappiness. "By the way, do you know where Professor Hilnan's office is?" "That's the teacher's office building up ahead. Hilnan's office should be on the 3rd floor. I don't remember which room it is. You can go there and ask." "Okay, thank you. I won't bother you anymore. Let's have dinner together when you're free." "All right, goodbye." Li Qiong took her sister to Hilnan's office. "Hello, Professor Nance. I'm Li Mu's sister." Hilnans raised his head and adjusted his glasses. "Please sit." "Professor Nance, I hope you can revoke my sister's punishment. I think she's already realized her mistake. I hope you can give her a chance to turn over a new leaf." "Miss Li, I'm afraid I can't agree. Your sister skipped classes for more than a month without asking for leave from the school, which caused the school to call the police. Your sister has caused a lot of trouble for the school, so I don't think it's suitable for your sister to attend our school. Professor Nance, do you want a girl's life to be ruined because of a mistake? Ms. Li, I hope you understand that she's already an adult. She has the ability and must take responsibility for her mistakes. But she's only 21. Ms. Li, I don't understand your question. She's already an adult at 21. Is she still a child in your country? You Chinese have such a strange way of education." Knock, knock. Hilnans looked up and saw Chen Zhao standing at the door. "Hilnans, I hope you can explain your words. Otherwise, I'll sue you for racial discrimination." Mr. Chen, I didn't mean that." "Then what do you mean?" "I'm all ears." Crossing his arms, Chen Zhao stood there and stared at Hilnans. Li Qiong stared at Chen Zhao in shock. She didn't expect him to come. "Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Chen. I apologize for my inappropriate choice of words. I'm really sorry." "You should say sorry to them." "I'm sorry, Ms. Li," Hilnan said. "I apologize for offending you." Chen Zhao walked into the office. "Do you mind if I listen?" "Of course not. After all, you're a medical professor too." Li Qiong's eyes widened in disbelief. She'd heard from her Chinese high school classmates that Chen Zhao had gotten into a medical university in China. She didn't expect that Chen Zhao was a medical professor at UCLA. How old was Chen Zhao? He should be at most 3 years away from graduation, right? In her impression, shouldn't professors be white-haired old men? Wasn't Chen Zhao too young? I want to know what happened. Chen Zhao looked at Li Qiong and her sister. Li Mu skipped classes for a month, Li Qiong said. Mr. Chen, I'm sure you know that such serious absenteeism isn't allowed in school. Chen Zhao looked at Li Mu. Li, aren't you going to explain where you've been this month? Li Mu hesitated for a moment, then said, I originally applied for a week's leave from school and went to Alaska with my classmates. However, because of the heavy snowfall and the arrival of the military, we were put under military control. Me, Vestana, and more than 30 tourists were all restricted from leaving the snowy mountain for 10 days. After that, the military found out that we were medical students and requested us to stay and act as temporary military doctors. Chen Zhao and Hil Nanz exchanged glances. Hil Nanz asked in confusion, if that's the case, why didn't you tell me before? Chapter 1065 01064. Both Hernandez and Chen Zhao didn't think that there was such a hidden story. However, they couldn't confirm whether Li Mu was telling the truth yet. Do you have any other evidence? Hil Nanz asked. When we left the restricted area, one of the colonels gave me a phone number, Li Mu said. I'm not sure if it's useful. If what she said is true, then I can revoke your punishment, Hernandez said. Chen Zhao turned to Hernandez. Hil Nanz looked at Chen Zhao. Mr. Chen, are you okay with this? Of course, Chen Zhao said. If she's lying, then I won't object to any punishment. He'd basically done everything he could. If Li Mu was lying, then even Chen Zhao wasn't in a position to help. Li Qiong could see that Hernandez respected Chen Zhao a lot. Although Hil Nanz said that he was the decision-maker, he was very biased towards Chen Zhao's suggestion. Then I won't disturb you anymore. I'll leave first. Chen Zhao left after completing his mission. Then, he left Li Mu a phone number. Li Qiong also left with Li Mu. Chen Zhao, wait. Li Qiong caught up with Chen Zhao. Li Qiong looked at Chen Zhao with a complicated gaze. To be honest, Chen Zhao's current achievements had indeed exceeded her expectations. She didn't expect Chen Zhao to be a professor at UCLA at all. He looked very prestigious too. Chen Zhao, thank you for just now. It's nothing. I just happened to overhear that old man's words. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in a position to help. Chen Zhao shrugged. In the future, I'll need you to take care of Li Mu in school. She's also a medical student. Chen Zhao glanced at Li Mu. She clearly didn't want another person to take care of her in school. Chen Zhao didn't want to be a busybody. Actually, Mr. Hernandez said that he's a very good professor. Your sister doesn't need me to take care of her. Li Qiong was helpless. She didn't have any connections. Now that she met Chen Zhao, she didn't have a good relationship with him. They were classmates from many years ago, but their relationship now was as cold as water. I won't disturb you anymore. I think you still have work to do. Come out for dinner in a few days. I'm serious this time. Weren't you serious before? Li Qiong smiled but didn't explain. Chen Zhao also smiled. Of course, he understood the Chinese's polite words. All right, goodbye. Li Mu followed Li Qiong for a few minutes and suddenly said, Sister, I have something to do. I'll leave first. You go home first. Where are you going? Just say that you have something to do. It's only the second day of the new year, and you're already running out. Then I'll just stay at home and not go to class. Are you satisfied? Li Mu was different from her sister. When her family first migrated here, she almost didn't feel any pressure from her family. The only thing she enjoyed was the protection of her family. That was why she had the personality of a princess. No one at home could control her. Take this matter as an example. She could go wherever she wanted. She went skiing in Alaska without telling her family at all. His family and school were going crazy. Li Mu left Li Qiong behind and ran away alone. But she still chased after Qin Zhao. Hey, that guy with the surname Qin. Qin Zhao frowned and turned to see Li Mu running over. What's the matter? To be honest, he'd never seen such an uneducated child. She wasn't young, but she didn't even know how to address people. No, Litgrove was like that too. They were all under the care of their elders. They seemed to be the only ones in their eyes. The elders at home could help them solve any problem. To put it bluntly, this kind of child was a scam. This was also because of the lack of education. The excessive pampering at home made the child think that she could do whatever she wanted. Of course, Qin Zhao didn't have the right or obligation to educate someone else's child. If his own child was like this, Qin Zhao would slap her to death. Qin Zhao was a slave to his daughter, but he felt that the first thing to pamper was restraint. Endlessly satisfying a child's needs would only cause irreparable consequences to the child's personality. Just like the day before yesterday, when Jerlin wanted to play with firecrackers, Qin Zhao's attitude was very firm. What's the matter? Do you want to pursue my sister? No. You don't have to deny it, Li Mu said. My sister is so pretty. It's normal for you to want to pursue her. What are you trying to say? How about this? If there's any trouble in school, help me solve it and I'll help you pursue my sister. Not interested. Qin Zhao turned to leave. He really didn't like Li Mu. Don't regret it. My sister said that many people pursue her. If someone gets to her first, you can go cry. Li Mu yelled, unwilling to give up. Unfortunately, Qin Zhao didn't even care about her. Just as Li Mu was about to leave, he saw a few girls walking over. The girl in the lead was surrounded by all the other girls like the moon surrounded by stars. Everyone looked at the girl with eyes full of worship. That was Evely, the famous student from UCLA, who was also the legend of the school. No, she was the legend of the swimming world. Li Mu also said as he looked at Evely with admiration. She also wanted to join Evely's side. Unfortunately, she was only a freshman and didn't know Evely at all. Or rather, she didn't know any of the girls around her. Hello, Evely, Li Mu greeted. Evely looked at Li Mu. Hello. There was no more interaction. Evely saw the figure in front of her. He immediately sped up and caught up with Qin Zhao. When he was behind Qin Zhao, he patted his shoulder. Hi, Qin. Qin Zhao turned around. Are you here for training today? Evely pursed her lips. The swimming coach said that he wants to arrange strategies. I've had enough of him. I'm starting to wonder if he even knows how to swim. It was no wonder that Evely had such an attitude. After all, Evely had participated in most international competitions. Moreover, the swimming coach insisted on using Qin Zhao's method to teach Evely how to swim. If Qin Zhao was the one arranging it, Evely would definitely obey. However, the one teaching her was an amateur. Evely couldn't accept this. Think about it. Could an African lion accept the strategy of a sheep? Behind them, Li Mu stared at Qin Zhao and Evely in disbelief. Did Evely and Qin Zhao know each other? Moreover, they seemed very close. In any school, the students were always in groups. If you wanted to join a group, someone had to introduce you. Evely didn't need to be mentioned. If she wanted to join a group, any group would probably welcome her. Even other students would surround her and form a group with her as the center. Chapter 1066. President, we've found the exact location of Nasamara. It's close to 8,000 kilometers from the LA port. Got it. Did you get the ship I wanted you to rent? I've already rented it. It's a large ocean-going ship. It used to be an icebreaker, but it has undergone some modifications. Now, it's an ocean-going ship. However, I'm not sure if Klaus and the others can pilot it. They should be fine. You guys get ready too. We'll leave tomorrow. Then, Qin Zhao hung up. Evely looked at Qin Zhao. You look busy. I've been busy these 2 days, Qin Zhao replied. Is it because of Chinese New Year? I think you Chinese have to visit friends and relatives during Chinese New Year. You didn't come to visit me. You're my student, Qin Zhao said casually. I have something to do. Bye. Bye. In the afternoon, Qin Zhao and West went to see the ocean ship. It was called Conqueror. It was an icebreaker with a displacement of 8,000 tons and a length of 110 meters. It looked as huge as a monster in the water. Renting it for a day cost $150,000. This was quite expensive. However, there was only one suitable ship. Unless Qin Zhao and Helith were willing to wait. Qin Zhao didn't want to wait too long. So, he signed the rental contract right away. The next day, everyone was ready to go. Qin Zhao, West, the 6 members of the Lightning team, Alice, Helith, Jolig, Padalu, Payne, Eric, and Risa were going. There were 15 people in total. Before they set sail, they also brought along an armed helicopter. This attack helicopter was also in case of emergencies. At noon, Conqueror set sail. The ship sailed into the depths of the sea. The Conqueror, which originally needed 20 crew members, Klaus, 6 people, and Jolig and Padalu made the ship move smoothly. Qin Zhao lay on the deck. It was as if everyone else's work had nothing to do with him. No one asked him why he was so relaxed. Helith walked onto the deck. President. How are you today? It's all right. Helith's reply was slightly forced. Are you worried about our destination? I'm afraid, Helios wasn't very confident. That fear came from her bloodline. She didn't know what she was going to face. But there was always a voice in her mind, reminding her not to go near that place. At this moment, a giant beast leaped out of the sea. Helios and the people on the deck gasped. It was the first time for many of them to see a mon. They'd all heard that Qin Zhao had a killer whale, but they were still shocked when they saw Amon's body. It was like a giant beast born from the primordial chaos, especially at medium to close range. Facing Amon's huge body, everyone felt pressured. No matter where we are, no one can defeat us. Don't forget, we are the supernatural organization. Harrow let out a long sigh. Guild Master, I understand. It's good that you understand. Relax well before we reach our destination. After the Conqueror entered the distant sea, Klaus and the others could finally relax. They no longer had to stare at the instruments in the cockpit. Except for one person who stayed in the cockpit to steer, everyone else started to relax. Klaus, what's the ship speed now? Guild Master, it's 20 now. This ship can go up to 60. Should we speed up? No, let's keep it like this, Qin Zhao said. How do you feel about the strength potion? Better than ever. An excited expression appeared on Klaus' face. I feel like I'll never get tired, and I always have an inexhaustible amount of energy. Should we race with this ship and see if we can catch up? Guild Master, I definitely can't catch up. I can't do it now. It's fine. Try. Even if you can't catch up, I'll have Amon take you. Okay, let's try, Qin Zhao shouted. Come. Klaus is going to have a swimming race with the Conqueror. Place your bets. A group of people gathered around. Klaus, can you swim faster than this ship? Regardless of whether he couldn't admit defeat. Of course. Then I bet you can win. Don't let me lose. I bet Klaus will lose. I bet $100 that Klaus will definitely win. Everyone was rather active. Before long, Chen Zhao had already collected more than $1,000. After warming up, Klaus started swimming. After using the strength potion, Klaus' fitness and stamina had both improved by leaps and bounds. 1 knot was about 1,850 meters per hour. 20 knots was 37 kilometers per hour. A normal person definitely wouldn't be able to catch up. However, Klaus felt that he had some confidence. He didn't dare to say 100%, but he had at least a 50% chance. After jumping into the water, Klaus immediately sped up. Klaus's explosiveness was quite good. However, his stamina was average. Chen Zhao silently observed Klaus' performance. He wanted to compare Klaus' performance with his own after using the strength potion. He realized that Klaus' performance was the best among the 6 members of the lightning team. However, even with the best effect, it still didn't reach Chen Zhao's expectations. At least, in terms of swimming speed, Klaus could only be said to be better than a normal person. However, compared to Gaia, he was much worse. Of course, he couldn't compare to Chen Zhao either. Chen Zhao had used the perfect strength potion back then. It was much better than normal strength potions. It seemed that there were differences between people too. There were also differences between people who'd used the strength potion. Just as the people on the ship were having fun, a ship passed by the Conqueror. From its appearance, the ship was probably half the size of the Conqueror. It was more than 150 meters long. Its displacement was probably twice that of the Conqueror. Whether it was the people on the ship or those playing in the water, they all looked displeased. It wasn't because the other party's ship was bigger than theirs, but because in this vast sea, the other party just had to come so close and pass by them. This feeling was like a direct provocation. Chapter 1067. Chen Zhao looked at the opposite ship, the White Envoy. I hate that ship, Hila said, looking at the people on the White Envoy. Do you know the people on that ship? Chen Zhao asked. No, and I don't want to. Just then, the White Envoy stopped. At the same time, it sent a signal to the Conqueror, telling it to stop. Guild leader, they want us to stop. Should we stop? Klaus asked as he reloaded his gun. What are you doing? Chen Zhao glanced at Klaus. Don't be so violent. Our slogan is love and peace. Use love to change the world. The people around Chen Zhao all looked at him strangely. President, when did we have such a noble philosophy? This is what I just decided. I feel that our association must have a principle. We must believe that we can change every enemy. All enemies can be changed with love. What if we meet an extremely evil enemy? Then we have to change them with great love. What's great love? A feeling from the bottom of our hearts. President, we can feel it, but we might not let them feel it. It's asking about the women in their family. At this moment, the White Envoy sent another request to stop the ship. President, they want us to stop again, Klaus said. Then let them do as they wish. I hope they can feel our strong love. President, leave that man to me. Helis pointed at the man in the trench coat on the opposite deck. Maybe we can get some information from him. Helis didn't admit it, but she definitely knew the man. Helis, can't we hurt him? Klaus asked. As long as we keep his mouth open, Helis said coldly. Do whatever you want. I understand, Klaus said. Stop the ship. Greenland, prepare for battle, the man in the trench coat said calmly. These guys don't look friendly. The bearded captain, Greenland, stood beside the man. You're the one who provoked them, Greenland said, rolling his eyes. You know the people on the opposite ship? I do. Do you see that cute girl in black? The man in the trench coat pointed at Helitha's figure. That is my little sister. By blood. Of course, don't you think it's cute? Hee hee. Since she's from the same bloodline as you, she should be a monster like you. We're different. The man in the trench coat shook his head. She possesses a unique bloodline, but she has always resisted the power of her bloodline, while I have obeyed the power of my bloodline. She used to be stronger than me, but now she is definitely not my match. Is she heading there as well? Greenland asked. Very likely. The man in the trench coat nodded. Since I sensed it, she might have sensed it too. At this time, the two ships connected, and Greenland made a hand signal to his subordinates. For a moment, the people on the two ships were at each other's throats. The crew on both sides pointed their guns at each other. Hey, Helis, how are you? The man in the trench coat stood at the bow of the tall ship and shouted at Helis. Everyone looked at Helis. Chen Zhao stood beside her. He gave the command completely to Helis. She could do whatever she wanted. Go and let them feel the president's love. Helis' tone was calm, but it was filled with coldness. Klaus loaded his gun and took out a grenade, throwing it high into the opposite ship. Boom! With a loud explosion, both sides started firing. The man in the trench coat and Greenland acted as if it had nothing to do with them. They just stood on the deck and looked at Helis. Helis, is this how you treat your brother? If you surrender now, I can promise you that you'll live. You know that I always keep my word. Brother. The man in the trench coat actually said that he was Helis' brother. But it seemed that their relationship was very bad. At least, Chen Zhao thought of his sister, Yura. Compared to Helis, the siblings were much more harmonious. Is he really your brother? Chen Zhao asked curiously. President, when we catch him, I think he'll answer your question personally. Helis looked at the man in the trench coat. Adam, do you remember 10 years ago? Adam's expression instantly turned gloomy. Helis, I swore that I'll get back all the humiliation you gave me. Trust me. I'll do what I say. It seemed that Helis' past had given her brother quite a psychological shadow. President, do you need us to do something? Pan En came to Chen Zhao's side. He seemed to be eager. No, Chen Zhao said. It's not time for you to do anything yet. President, do you want to know my relationship with Adam? Helis asked. I won't force you, Chen Zhao said. We have different fathers. My mother is a black witch, Helis said calmly. She has been pursuing powerful undead servants all her life, but no matter how powerful they are, she could never be satisfied. You also know that no matter what kind of undead servant it is, there are all kinds of problems. Finally, she thought of a solution. Harius said calmly. Chen Zhao turned his head to look at Helis. Her tone suddenly turned angry. She thought of a solution. She thought it was the perfect solution and carried it out. That evil mother of mine. Adam looked at Helis on the other side of the boat. I'm sure you're familiar with her. Thinking of the woman, Greenland's expression changed. What solution did your mother think of? Here, her. Adam pointed at Helis. She's the solution my mother thought of. In the undead system, the strongest is undoubtedly turning into a lich. But to become a lich, one must first turn into death. My mother didn't want to die, so she thought of another solution. She had someone die in her place and then forcefully turn them into a lich. She then cast a spell to strip away their magic. That way, she doesn't need to die to obtain the lich's magic and control it. Greenland knew Adam and Helis' mother. He knew how evil that woman was. But now, It seemed that he had underestimated how scary and evil that woman was. Chapter 1068. My mother gave birth to me and Adam because of this, Harris said calmly. Of course, he's a failure. Harris's voice was eerie. For this plan, she found 2 different men to give birth to children. Then she left Adam and I in different families. Before I was 10, I didn't even know I had a brother until one day, when I was attacked. He attacked you? Chen Zhao asked. Yes, it was him. Harris nodded. He barged into my life unreasonably and killed my adoptive parents in a cruel way, Harris said. Then he wanted to devour my magic power, but he lost. At that time, he told me that he was forced, so I let him go, said Harris. And then? Later on, I got more information and met more brothers and sisters. More brothers and sisters? Yes. For this plan, that woman gave birth to many, many children. Adam and I were only one of them. I was the youngest. She made us kill each other until there was only one survivor. Chen Zhao's expression changed. He also couldn't understand such a barbaric and cruel way of thinking. What kind of pleasure could a woman get from raising her own children like they were poisonous insects? Was that so-called plan really that important? Then all my siblings came to find me and attacked me. And you won. Then after they were defeated by me, they met Adam. What's that saying in China? The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Yes, Adam isn't the most outstanding, but he's definitely the most cunning. He devoured all 11 siblings. He devoured 11 siblings. So he should be very powerful, right? Not enough. Not enough, Adam said. I'm not strong enough. I still need Harris. Only I have the power to resist that woman. Hearing Adam's words, Greenland's scalp went numb. You want to become enemies with that woman? I won't help you. I don't need your help, Adam said calmly. I can do it alone. Adam looked around him. The crew members of the White Envoy had been killed and scattered everywhere. It's about time for us to make a move, Greenland said. These guys are really powerful. They're actually unharmed. Make your move. Adam had no interest in Klaus and the others. In his eyes, Klaus and the others were just ordinary people. He felt that he should conserve his strength to deal with Heli's. Even though his description of Heli's was so light, it was hard for him to believe it. After all, he had suffered a few losses at Helitha's hands. Therefore, he did not dare to be careless. However, this time, Helitha's reaction was completely different from the panic she showed when they met in the past. Today, Harris remained calm from the beginning to the end. Could it be that she thought victory was in her grasp? Or had he given up resisting? This was probably the first time Chen Zhao had been looked down upon so much. After standing beside Helis for so long, Adam still saw Chen Zhao as a bystander. Greenland was already moving. Do you want me to deal with these guys? Of course, don't tell me you expect me to take action. Greenland turned around and looked at Klaus and the others, who were already surrounding them. The crew members on Greenland's ship were all average. After all, their main profession was sailing. Compared to elites like Klaus, they were much weaker. Moreover, they were a group of enhanced elites. Greenland turned around and looked at Klaus and the others. Do you know that you've angered me? Greenland had an arrogant attitude from start to finish. Klaus pointed his gun at Greenland. With a bang, Greenland's shoulder exploded into a bloody flower. Greenland took a step back and looked at the blood on his shoulder. I'm going to kill you. Greenland's face was filled with rage. But just then, an even more intense hail of bullets greeted him. 6 machine guns all pointed at Greenland and started firing. Klaus and the others knew very well where they were weak. Against a spiritualist, their only chance was to gain the upper hand with a show of strength. First, they would cripple the opponent, or rather, kill him. Soon, Greenland's body was riddled with holes. Right now, Greenland's body was on the verge of collapse. It was as if he would fall at any moment. But he did not fall. The bullets were expelled from his body one by one. What spell is this? Klaus was somewhat surprised. Chen Zhao, who was on the opposite deck, was also surprised. What's this? It said that there's a special type of magical constitution. They reject all foreign substances. Anything that doesn't belong to their body will be rejected by them, Alice said. Alice said, also, their bodies have muscle memory. No matter how distorted or deformed they are, even if they get burned, they can recover. Fuck, is this an undying body? Right now, Greenland was extremely arrogant. He stared at Klaus and the others with a fierce expression. Are you ready to despair? Greenland shouted. Klaus and the others exchanged glances. Confidence appeared on their faces. If you can do it, then come. Greenland suddenly sped up and charged at Klaus. Klaus did not want to get close to Greenland. He was not sure what spell Greenland had. Thus, he quickly retreated. Holding two guns in his hands, he kept shooting at Greenland. Greenland was fast, but Klaus was not slow either. It seemed that it would not be easy for Greenland to catch Klaus. Greenland chose to change his target and attacked another member of the Lightning Squad. However, this member's reaction was also very fast. He immediately pulled away. Anyway, no matter who Greenland approached, they would retreat and the others would shoot. This was a game of cat and mouse. Although Greenland could not be killed, he could not get close to Klaus and the others either. Klaus had already learned his lesson. Guns could not kill Greenland, but they could stop his movements. Especially if they pierced through his legs. Greenland's movements would be greatly affected and his recovery speed would be very slow. Greenland tried all sorts of methods to get close to the members of the Lightning Squad. However, all of them ended in failure. These guys were too cunning. They did not give Greenland a chance to get close at all. Chen Zhao looked at Greenland, who was being played. Is this guy here to be funny? Everyone glanced at Chen Zhao and thought to themselves. In his eyes, all the enemies were funny. But he had to admit that Greenland was indeed unbelievably strong in some aspects. Even if his head exploded, he would not be killed. Chapter 1069. Being unkillable was never an invincible skill. If he only had this skill back then, the grass on his grave would probably be more than a meter tall. Especially when he was facing people like Klaus. They were elites because they knew how to adapt. They knew that they had to face all kinds of enemies. Many of their enemies had special abilities. Thus, they would study and find solutions. They would even simulate real battles. For example, their research on the members of the society. They knew most people's weaknesses. They also knew how to defeat them. Of course, this wasn't their forte. Their forte was to find weaknesses. Klaus, when he's attacked in the stomach, he'll actively dodge or block. His weak point might be there. Yes, I know. Be careful. Klaus nodded. After exchanging information, they started attacking Greenland's stomach. Greenland couldn't actively attack anymore. He looked more and more anxious. Adam, help me. But just then, a large net fell from the sky and covered Greenland's head. Klaus and the others found a fishing net out of nowhere and used it to trap Greenland. Greenland was trapped in the fishing net and he kept struggling. But Klaus and the others dragged him and hung him in the air. This time, Greenland was completely done for. Adam, save me, useless, Adam said, dissatisfied. Adam finally attacked. Of course, Klaus and the others had been guarding against him. So the moment Adam moved, Klaus' gun was already pointed at Adam. Bang! The bullet flew toward Adam, but a bone shield appeared in front of him. The bone shield blocked the bullet and started spinning around Adam's body. You're all going to die, every single one of you. Adam twisted his neck. Suddenly, Klaus felt a chill behind him. Without thinking, Klaus pounced forward. As he flipped, he fired 3 shots behind him. A white ghost appeared behind Klaus. It was covered in a tattered white robe and floated in the air. However, the bullets that Klaus used were also soaked in holy water and had the effect of causing damage to spiritual bodies. The white specter was instantly destroyed. Herese took the communicator and said to Klaus, "Klaus, be careful. Adam has released frost spirits. As long as they come into contact with you, your body and soul will be frozen." Got it, thank you. Adam looked at Klaus and the others. He didn't panic when he saw a frost specter being destroyed. Because he had more than one frost ghost. Klaus suddenly leaped into the air and fired at the deck. A frost wraith appeared on the deck. However, before coming into contact with Klaus, Klaus already felt a chill. The other team members also reacted quickly, even though there were many frost ghosts on the ship. However, they were unable to get close to the lightning squad. The moment they launched a sneak attack, the members of the lightning squad would react. Adam couldn't help but frown when he saw how difficult it was to deal with the lightning squad. "You've angered me." Adam pointed both of his palms at Klaus, and Klaus felt his brain suddenly freeze. At this time, Helios's voice came from the earpiece again. "Be careful, this is soul attraction. He wants to drag your soul out and open the shield." The members of the association all wore magic shields made by Jolig. They could block some long-range magic attacks. Klaus didn't dare to be careless. Together with his team members, he opened the magic shields. Adam realized that his magic had failed again and glanced at Helios not far away. "Very good, I'll remember you." As he spoke, Adam suddenly jumped over the railing and into the sea. Adam prepared to escape. Of course, in his opinion, this was a strategic retreat. The moment Adam fell into the water, a huge body appeared under his feet and lifted him up from the sea. It was a shark over 10 meters long. More accurately, it was a monster made from the corpse of a shark. "President, he's going to escape." Escape? He can't escape. Adam was burning with rage at this moment. He hadn't used his trump card yet, but he had prepared it for Helios. But Helios didn't give him the chance. So he didn't want to expose his trump card so early, so he chose to retreat. He didn't expect that the lonely and cowardly girl in the past would have so many experts around her. The shark under his feet was a servant of the dead. It was also specially prepared for this trip. But he didn't expect to use it so soon. Suddenly, a huge wave rose from the sea and slammed toward him. A black fin appeared on the surface of the sea. Like the ridge of a sword, it split the water. "What's that?" Before Adam could react, the thing had already slashed at him. The living shark wanted to dodge, but the speed of that thing was too fast. Whoosh! The shark was cut in half by the halberd, instantly killed. Adam also fell into the water at this time. But the thing in the water turned back. Adam panicked completely and hurriedly summoned the frost wraith from the sea. Just then, the monster in the water appeared again. This time, it revealed its true body. It was a killer whale, its shocking body leaping out of the water. The huge mouth was deep and dark. It swallowed the frost wraith in one gulp and then disappeared into the sea. When it landed, it even created a huge wave. Adam choked a few mouthfuls of water. He swam desperately and escaped. That was too terrifying. Was that a killer whale just now? What a joke. How could a killer whale be so big? By then, the conqueror had caught up. Helios stood on the bowstring and looked at the disheveled Adam. Adam, that looks like it's in trouble. Do you need help? Adam's expression was extremely gloomy. He wanted to say no, but he opened his mouth and didn't say anything in the end. He saw that the thing had been lingering around. But before he could reply, a huge net fell over him. Adam had never been so disheveled. He had been dragged onto a boat with a fishing net. Then, he was hung on a crane. Of course, he was accompanied by Greenland. They were brothers in trouble now. Just then, a girl walked over. "Mr. Adam, I hope you won't resist. I'm going to seal your magic now." How could Adam give up without a fight? But Alice said, "Do you see the meat grinder over there? If you resist, you'll have to go inside." Chapter 1070. Why is this meat grinder still here? Didn't the president bury it last time? West asked, confused. This meat grinder came with this ship. It's not the one from last time. Eris quickly placed a seal on Adam. The fishing net loosened and Adam fell to the ground in a sorry state. In the past, Adam would go wherever he went. But now, almost no one paid attention to him. Some even walked around and played. He was like a person of no importance. Only Harold was not far away, quietly watching Adam. Adam straightened his clothes and tried his magic again. As expected, he couldn't use it. This made Adam angry and gloomy. There were two people Adam hated the most. One was his mother, and the other was his sister. His mother was like a demon. She'd brought him too many disasters and torments since he was young. The other was his sister, Helios. Helios was the first person to pull him back from his pride. Helios's unparalleled talent made him jealous and hate her. Now, he fell into Helios's hands again. Although Helios didn't do anything from start to end. But a loss was a loss. No matter how unwilling he was, he couldn't change the result. Suddenly, someone pushed Adam's back. Adam took 2 steps back, looked back, and saw Klaus shoving him. "What are you doing?" Klaus didn't go easy on Adam. He kicked Adam's stomach. Adam broke out in cold sweat from the pain. He clutched his stomach and knelt on the ground. "Can't you see someone waiting for you over there? You're already a captive. Why are you still pretending?" Klaus and the others didn't go easy on Adam. They punched and kicked him on the ground. Adam had never been humiliated like this. "Don't let me find a chance," Adam roared. "Otherwise, I'll turn you into a human corpse." Clang! Adam's face was stomped on the cold and rough deck. "You're still so stubborn even when you're about to die. Helios, are you just going to watch outsiders humiliate your brother?" Adam roared. Halles walked over. "Thank you, Klaus, but you shouldn't have treated him like this." Klaus shrugged, and Harris continued, "Didn't we just fish up a few sea snakes? Let him have a taste." "Wait, don't. Adam panicked. What he was most afraid of was running into a snake, no matter what kind of snake he ran into. "Helios, I can tell you anything you want to know." "No, compared to the questions you can answer me, I prefer to torture you," Harris said calmly. Right now, Chen Zhao was carrying a 2-meter-long colorful sea snake. The snake was very powerful. It curled its body and coiled around Chen Zhao's arm. "Don't come near me. Don't come near me. Go away, go away." Chen Zhao pulled open Adam's pants and stuffed the snake inside. "Aw! Help! Help!" Help! Adam screamed again and again. He could feel that wet and slippery touch in his pants intimately touching his skin. Take it out. Hurry up and take it out. I'll tell you everything you want to know. Oh, we have serum on the ship, right? Chen Zhao asked. Everyone was surprised. Since when was Chen Zhao so kind? We have a big family of love, Chen Zhao said seriously. We should let everyone on the boat feel our love. Plus, we caught so many sea snakes, including a special poisonous one. We can't let it go to waste. Chen Zhao nodded seriously. That's right, Chen Zhao said. Adam shuddered, not just because he was scared by Chen Zhao's words, but also because he felt his leg go numb. Most sea snakes were neurotoxins. People bitten by sea snakes would have no reaction within half an hour. Some wouldn't even feel it. It wasn't like the cobra, which was also a neurotoxin. After being bitten, the cobra would have severe physiological reactions such as internal bleeding. The sea snake's neurotoxin was latent and the body would absorb it as nutrition. Around 3 hours later, the body would have a violent reaction. Compared to other types of snake venom, the physiological reaction of neurotoxin was relatively mild. This was because neurotoxin was paralyzing, so it mainly acted on the nerves. Of course, this didn't mean that neurotoxin wasn't scary. The fatality rate of neurotoxin was very high. It was mainly caused by internal bleeding after the poison took effect. If it was a poisonous snake with mixed toxins, the reaction would be much more intense. The bite wound would feel like it had been burned by a soldering iron. The most typical example was the soldering iron head. It was a typical poisonous snake with mixed toxins. Adam felt his tongue getting knotted. He couldn't even speak properly. This is a typical reaction. The neurotoxin hasn't completely spread, but it's already starting to seep into your nervous system, Chen Zhao said. No rush. We have time. Of course, don't talk so fast. After all, if you talk too fast, we won't have as much fun. Yes, that's right. We're a big family of love. We'll let you feel our deep love. Helis looked at Adam with a gentle smile. I'm your brother, Ha. That's why you weren't killed directly. I'm thinking about our family. Helis, I have an idea, Klaus said. Klaus took the initiative and said, when I was in the army, I learned a very special method of interrogation and torture. At that time, we caught a terrorist, and no matter what torture method we used, we couldn't pry open his mouth. Later on, our military doctor came up with an idea. We used a syringe, then dipped it in a mixture of toxins, and pierced the skin of the other party. The toxins on the needle wouldn't kill, but it would cause a strong allergic reaction. At that time, we accepted the suggestion of the military doctor, and the problem that couldn't be solved in 3 days was solved in 30 minutes. Not a bad idea. Very creative. I'll raise your salary later. Chen Zhao nodded. President, I've thought of a way too. I have an idea too. The group didn't mind the situation getting out of hand. They all gave Chen Zhao and Helis suggestions. President, have you heard of Eggy raising bugs? This name sounded very evil. Everyone revealed a meaningful smile. Only Adam was in fear and despair. This group of people was definitely the cruelest group of people he had ever seen. There was no one else like them. Chapter 1071. In Adam's impression, Helis was weak, cowardly, lowly, and stupid. She was a girl who didn't know how to fight back even when someone hurt her. In the past, Adam had appeared before her again and again and hurt her again and again. But in the end, her heart softened and she let him go. In Adam's eyes, Helis was nothing to be afraid of. But now, Helis had changed. She became strange and cruel. And the people around her. Who were they? They looked so evil. They enjoyed humiliating and torturing others. After 6 hours of inhumane torture, Adam finally broke down. Now, I hope to get an answer to any question I ask. If I'm wrong, I'll ask again in an hour. Chen Zhao grabbed Adam's chin. First question. What's your name? You know the answer. Wrong answer. Chen Zhao shook his head. Then I'll come back in an hour. Chen Zhao turned to Klaus. I'll leave it to you. Wait. Where are you going? Adam was dumbfounded. It was just a habitual answer. Can you not be so serious? Helis, let's go eat dinner. What's dinner? Seafood dinner. President, leave some for me, Klaus said. Okay, I'll come back in an hour. Don't let him rest. When Chen Zhao and Helis walked out of the cabin, they heard another miserable scream. After filling their stomachs, Chen Zhao and Helis returned to the cabin. Chen Zhao looked at the time. I think we came too early. It's not even an hour. Adam curled up on the ground, trembling. At the moment, he didn't have any heroic spirit or pride left. He was like a homeless man in dire straits, his eyes filled with fear and despair. Klaus, let's go eat. President, it's only been half an hour. Klaus still didn't seem satisfied. Don't be like this. Give him a chance, Chen Zhao said. We're an organization with love. Okay. Klaus realized that Chen Zhao's love was very twisted. Are you willing to cooperate with my questions now? Adam curled up on the ground. When he looked at Chen Zhao, his eyes were filled with fear. Now, first question. What's your name? Adam. A few years old. 28. What is your mother's name? Ava. Why are you here? Adam looked at Helios. Same as you. Then what is our purpose? Nasamara Island, search for traces of our ancestors. Be more specific, Chen Zhao said. Adam looked at Chen Zhao and then at Helis. You don't know. Adam suddenly felt a sense of hope. He seemed to feel that he had something on him. Do you want to know? Unless you promise me something, I won't tell you even if I die. President, let's give him some time to think about it. Maybe he'll change his mind tomorrow morning, Harold said indifferently. Sure. Chen Zhao nodded. The two of them turned around again, intending to leave the cabin. Adam panicked. Don't go, don't go. You'll regret it. Helis, my mother will go to Nasamara Island too. You'll meet her then. You know how scary she is. All of you will die. Helis paused and turned to look at Adam. No, I'll kill her this time. She's not as powerful as you think. After witnessing true power, I suddenly realized how small and insignificant my past vision was. You're dreaming. You can't defeat her. She's a demon. Adam was still determined. President, I want to undo his seal, Helis said. Do what you want to do, Chen Zhao said indifferently. Adam was dragged to the deck. All the lights on the ship shone on him. Helis was standing in front of Adam. Then, the seal on Adam was undone. Chen Zhao stood on the control tower, looking down at Adam and Helis. Klaus, get ready. If Helis is in danger, shoot that Adam. President, they're having a fair duel, right? It's not good for us to interfere like this. Duel my ass. Helis is one of us. I don't care what she thinks. If she's in danger, I won't just stand by. Klaus nodded. He knew that Chen Zhao was always protective. Since Chen Zhao requested this, he had nothing else to say. After Adam's seal was undone, his magic started recovering. It was removing the pain from his body. Heartwarming, you're still as stupid as before. Adam regained his confidence. He glanced at the onlookers. Today, everyone on this ship will die. Adam, I'm not who I used to be. Really? A strange smile appeared on Adam's face. Suddenly, Heartwarming felt a chill under her feet. A frost spirit ambushed her from below the deck and grabbed her feet. In my eyes, you're still a child who won't grow up. You can never escape. Just like my 11 brothers and sisters in the past, you'll be like them and become a part of me. Heartwarming looked up at Adam. Adam, you still don't understand. I'm different from you and them. Do you think you can fight against them after devouring them? Heartwarming pulled her feet and took a step forward. The frost wraith that was grabbing onto her feet began to shatter. Such a cheap trick is meaningless to me. A beam of light shot out of Adam's eyes. 11 figures appeared beside him. All of them had once been Adam and Heartwarming's brothers and sisters. See? They belong to me now. They all have the abilities they had when they were alive. And you will be the 12th. The 12 evil spirit servants released spells at Heartwarming at the same time. Heartwarming's lips curled into a smile. Her body suddenly turned into mist and dissipated. The spells missed. Heartwarming's figure appeared behind Adam. I said that I'm not who I used to be. If you can't face this, you'll be like them. Adam suddenly turned his head to look at Heartwarming. You actually have the death mist. Where did you find it? Greed appeared in Adam's eyes. For necromancers, the death mist was a naturally formed treasure. It was dangerous but powerful. Chapter 1072. You belong to me. The death mist belongs to me too. Adam didn't panic. Instead, he was very excited. Fuck. Hearing this, Chen Zhao was about to explode. Is this Shola Siskon? Listen to his perverted words. Fortunately, Klaus and West pulled him back. President, I don't think he meant that. Adam clearly didn't know. He'd almost angered Chen Zhao with this. A few green skulls appeared beside Adam and circled him. The skulls moved in and out of the mist. They tracked Helitha's figure. However, every time it came into contact with Helis would dissipate into mist. Suddenly, a skull appeared behind Helios without any warning and bit her shoulder. I've caught you. Adam chuckled. This way, you won't be able to escape. Adam came in front of Helith with a smug smile on his face. Don't worry. I won't kill you, at least not now. I'll return the torture you just gave me double. Do you know the characteristics of the death mist? Helios suddenly asked. Characteristics? What characteristics? Assimilation, Helios said. At the same time, she reached out and removed the skull from her shoulder. Helios wasn't hurt at all. Adam didn't understand. The death mist can assimilate other death-type auras. Harris increased the strength in her hand and the green skeleton was instantly crushed. A wisp of green smoke came out of the green skull. Helios inhaled deeply and sucked the smoke into her mouth. The death mist is the most corrosive substance in the world, Helios said. Everyone who is lost in the death fog will eventually become a part of it, Harry said. Adam's expression changed drastically. He turned to escape from the death mist. But after a few steps, he realized that he'd run back to Helios. Looks like you're lost. Do you need me to show you the way? Adam immediately commanded the 11 evil spirit servants to attack Helith to buy time for him. But the 11 evil spirit servants stood where they were, dumbfounded. They had low intelligence to begin with, and now the dense death fog had also corroded them. Seeing that the situation was bad, Adam immediately raised his arm and yelled, "Angel of Death, please lend me your power so that I can corrupt everything in front of me." A streak of black light broke through the fog and landed on Adam's body. This was his trump card, borrowing the power of the great demon King Abaddon, the emissary of death and plague. As a follower of Abaddon, Adam could borrow Abaddon's power for a short time. At this moment, two large hands reached out from the fog and pulled Adam's arm straight. This was Halley's corpse demon. The corpse demon controlled Adam. Harold stepped forward and grabbed Adam's neck with both hands. "You know, this is the moment I've been waiting for." Adam's face was full of horror. "What?" "Abaddon's power," Harry said with a smile. "You and them all belong to me." Adam suddenly realized that the Helith before him was so unfamiliar. She was as evil as his mother, and just as terrifying. No wonder Mother said, "You are her most perfect creation." Very soon, her creation will bring disaster to her. Adam could feel that his magic power was flowing away like a raging wave. Helios was devouring his magic power unscrupulously. Adam, Halley's, and 11 siblings. They were all created by their mother for the final plan. Therefore, their magic power was completely the same. They were born to kill and devour each other. But none of your paths have deviated from her plan. You're still in her control. Helios let go of Adam, who fell to the ground powerlessly. "Go back and tell Mother that she doesn't need to find me this time." "I'll go find her myself," Helios said. "You're not going to kill me." Adam's face was filled with shock. "If you die, who will tell me?" "Ha! You still haven't changed. You're still so weak. You can't defeat Mother like this." Helios turned around and looked at the control tower. "President, can I let him go?" "Of course, you can decide," Chen Zhao said. "But he can only have one lifeboat." Helios looked at Adam. "I hope you have something that can contact Mother. You want to use me to lure Mother over?" "No, I'll wait for her on the island," Helios said. "Don't you want to know the island secret?" "No need, I already know," Helios said. "After all, we have the same blood, don't we?" Adam boarded a small lifeboat and was given some fresh water. Chen Zhao stood at the bow and watched Adam start the lifeboat with difficulty. "Hey, Adam, we'll meet again soon." Adam looked up at Chen Zhao. "Chinese, you better be careful of Helios. She's a complete monster." Is it really okay for you to sow discord between our superiors and subordinates so openly?" Adam smiled and didn't say anything else. He was very confident in this move, because he'd used it many times in the past. After Adam left, Chen Zhao looked up at Greenland, who was still hanging in the fishing net. "Put him down." Greenland had witnessed the entire process. He didn't want to become enemies with the people on Chen Zhao's boat. Just like the group led by Ava, they were filled with danger. "Listen, sir," Greenland explained. "We're just partners. I'm not your enemy." Smiling, Chen Zhao walked up to Greenland. Suddenly, a hand pierced through Greenland's abdomen. Greenland's body started convulsing slightly. "You, let go, let go. I feel a familiar aura. There seems to be something familiar in your body." A piece of the otherworldly god's flesh was hiding in Greenland's abdomen. Just like the believers of the otherworldly god, they could obtain an almost immortal body through the otherworldly god's endless power. It was the same for Greenland, but the difference was that he obtained it directly instead of through faith. When Chen Zhao tried to pull out the piece of flesh, Greenland was in even more pain. "Let me go, let me go." Greenland's voice changed. It was like two voices mixed together. Chen Zhao pulled out his bloody hand and wiped the blood on Greenland's body. Looks like it's not the same, Chen Zhao muttered to himself. Where's your original body? Chapter 1073. Of course, Chen Zhao said, smiling. I don't want to cause unnecessary trouble. Hey! Can you tell me before you penetrate my stomach next time? First, I have to say that the thing in my stomach and I are just using each other. I'm not that familiar with it. Your consciousness isn't controlled by it. Chen Zhao thought that he was talking to the otherworldly god and not Greenland himself. Can this thing control consciousness? Greenland was stunned for a moment. Then, his face was filled with fear. Damn it. Take it out, take it out. I knew it wouldn't be that easy. I'll go crazy and be devoured by him. I'll become a monster. Oh. You seem to understand. You're right. Chen Zhao shrugged. I was just talking nonsense. You're not lying to me, right? Don't listen to his nonsense. I'm different from those adult ES gods. I'm harmless. I'm not an ES god clone. I'm just the original body, Greenland said. You're controlling me right now, Greenland said in panic. If I could swallow your consciousness, would you still be able to say that? Maybe you're waiting for an opportunity. Maybe you think I'm still useful. President, just kill him, them. They're ticking time bombs on the ship. Hearing Helitha's words, Greenland wanted to jump off the ship immediately. But when he came to the edge of the fence, he saw a huge shadow swimming past the boat. Are you sure you want to go into the water? There's something down there that really likes to eat the otherworldly god. Greenland was in despair. The people on the ship were scary, but the people below were even scarier. Whatever. Just stay on the ship and do some research for me. If you agree, you can live for now. If you don't, you can be my pet's food. What kind of research? Don't be scared. It's just a normal dissection. It's not something scary. Greenland was in despair, but there was nothing he could do. Then, Greenland was locked in a room. This was the room Adam had locked in before. There were many scary equipment in the room. Helith came to his side. President, I have something to tell you. Wait. If you're going to confess to me, I'm not prepared at all. I won't accept it. Hallis looked at him with a dead fish's eyes. President, you're thinking too much. Okay, Chen Zhao said, disappointed. President, if you were a little younger, maybe I would really confess to you. I'm only 27 years old. He's only 27. So we're already 2 generations apart. Let's get down to business. What did you want to say to me just now? I, Adam, and my mother, Ava, are the most orthodox descendants of Nasamara, and we are of Nasamara's noble bloodline, Helis said. How did you know? I just devoured the magic power of Adam and 11 other brothers and sisters. More inheritances in my bloodline have been unlocked. Harid said, in the inheritance of the bloodline, I have obtained more knowledge and learned more. The fall of Nasamara is related to my family. What's going on? The Nosimiran civilization was a very special civilization. They lived on an island, and at their peak, they only had a population of a few 100,000. However, because of the size of the population and the size of the land, the entire civilization was in conflict. The war began and ended with tens of thousands of people dying on the battlefield. However, the people were not happy because the end of the war meant that the population would expand again. 6,000 years ago, there was actually a problem of population expansion. Then, my family's leader came up with a plan to kill ordinary people to suppress the population expansion and preserve the nobles. Killing without reason. Helis continued, it wasn't without reason. That person had other plans. He seemed to want to use the blood of tens of thousands of people to create something, but it was not completed in the end. My family fell apart because of this. The entire family was dismembered by the angry people. My ancestors escaped overseas. After drifting on the sea, they came to Europe and forgot their bloodline and identity. They started a new life. Shamans kept appearing in my family and participated in the process of history. What your mother is looking for is that unfinished thing. Helis nodded. The blood of tens of thousands of people seems to only be half done. The ancestors' inheritance has always flowed in the bloodline. As long as the descendants reach a certain level, the ancestors' memory will be awakened and they will be forced to go to Nasamara to find that thing. Did none of your ancestors reach the awakening stage? Or was someone awakened, but they couldn't find it? No, someone was awakened, but that thing only appears when the Beidou's comet comes once every 159 years, so no one has been able to get it. What's that thing used for? The Agama Bridge. What? Every civilization and every religion has their own heaven. Agama is Nasamara's heaven. Apparently, that thing is called the Agama Bridge. Can the Agama Bridge end your nightmare? Chen Zhao asked. Maybe. That's good. Our current goal is to find the Agama Bridge. As for the mission, the inheritance, and the guidance of fate, it has nothing to do with us. Whoever stands in our way, we'll kill them. It's that simple. President, my mother isn't weak. She's caused countless horrors. She's the evilest and cruelest woman. So, if I want to kill her, will you stop me? I want her to die. What kind of magic is your mother good at? Necromancy is her forte, but she's also good at voodoo, curses, and alchemy. In the past 20 years, she's even developed her own magic system, mixing the spells she's good at. She's the most famous black witch. Countless forces have tried to kill her, but she escaped in the end and counterattacked. It's okay. I'll definitely kill her. I'll make it so that she can never rise again. The next morning, the sun didn't appear and the sea was still raging. Dark clouds covered the sky and the conqueror bobbed up and down on the sea. A storm was coming. Chapter 1074. Chen Zhao had been to the sea before. However, this ship was completely different from the ships he had been on in the past. This was an ocean-going ship. The structure of an ocean-going ship was completely different from a yacht. In the face of wind and waves, the force produced was also different. When an ocean-going ship faces a wave, it is a positive force. When the wave hits, the bow of the ship will lean forward, and the force of the wave will spread throughout the entire ship. The yacht, on the other hand, was a diffusive force. In the face of the waves, the yacht would sway left and right, and then dissipate the force. It was very difficult for people to feel the force of the waves. If the two were to be compared, the structure of the ocean-going ship was more cohesive. It was also because of this structure that it could carry more weight and resist stronger winds and waves. However, the people on the ship were not comfortable. Although the yacht's ability to withstand the wind and waves was not as strong, it increased the comfort. This was also why he didn't feel seasick on the yacht. On the contrary, he would get seasick if he took this long-distance ship. Yesterday, they were still in the coastal waters and the waves weren't big, so Chen Zhao didn't feel anything. But today, the wind and waves were a little stronger, and Chen Zhao couldn't take it anymore. It was also the first time the people in the association saw Chen Zhao so weak. Everyone's faces were tense today. They didn't dare to show any expression before Chen Zhao. They were afraid that they wouldn't be able to hold back their laughter when they saw him. Chen Zhao was weak at the moment, but he was still Chen Zhao. Everyone on the boat looked normal, but Chen Zhao was the only one who was seasick. At this time, they had already reached the distant sea. But the color of the sky was very strange. Generally speaking, this kind of low-pressure air flow was regional, and it would clear up after 1 or 2 hours. But the Conqueror had been sailing for an entire morning in this low-pressure layer. The sea was also unusually violent. Chen Zhao breathed in the air outside. Alice came over with a glass of water. "President, do you want some hot water?" "No need. Let me get some fresh air." Chen Zhao was a doctor himself. He knew his own symptoms. He already regretted his journey this time. If he had known this would happen, he would have brought the yacht out. However, there was still a certain degree of risk in driving a yacht into the deep sea. It was not that it was impossible. In fact, large yachts had the ability to sail long distances. However, they weren't here for fun this time, so Chen Zhao cared more about his yacht. He didn't want the yacht to have any problems because of this. Chen Zhao lay on the chair, enjoying the sea breeze. He didn't know how long he had slept. Suddenly, he heard someone call him. Chen Zhao opened his eyes slightly and glanced at West, who was shaking him. "What is it? Dinner?" "No. President, look over there." West pointed into the distance. There was a ship about 2 nautical miles away. But the bottom of the boat was floating on the water, with its bottom facing up. There were also 3 men and 2 women standing on it. They had also seen the Conqueror and were shouting for help. "Guild leader, should we rescue them?" "You decide." Chen Zhao could not be bothered. "Don't call me if you don't have an appetite." "All right." West looked at the person calling for help in the distance and ordered, "Move the boat over." Domingo, Alger, Zoran, Emily, and Fios had spent the whole night trembling on the surface of the sea. Last night, their yacht was caught in a storm. Fortunately, the 5 of them liked to surf and dive, so they were good at swimming. Only then did he manage to escape from the cabin in time when the yacht capsized. But just like that, they climbed to the bottom of the yacht and endured the storm. They could not contact their families or rescue them. Just as everyone was in despair, a ship appeared in their field of vision. The 5 of them were so excited that they desperately called for help. The Conqueror approached slowly. A motorboat was lowered and they were picked up one by one. "What's going on with you guys?" West asked. At this moment, the 5 of them were still in a state of shock. Each of them was covered with blankets, cold and hungry. "We encountered a storm last night," Domingo said. "The yacht capsized. It's more than 2,000 kilometers from the coastline." "Why did you drive the yacht here?" "We came from Hawaii. Originally, we only planned to take a stroll in the nearby waters, but the navigator and intelligent control system suddenly malfunctioned on the way. Even the communicator malfunctioned. Last night, we encountered a huge storm and capsized our ship." "Sir, can you send us back to Hawaii?" Domingo asked. "We're willing to pay a high price." "Sorry, no," West said. "We have our own sailing mission. We can't go back. Can you give me a satellite phone? We need to tell our families that we're safe." "Sorry, I can't either." West still couldn't trust these people completely. After all, it was suspicious for a yacht to appear out of nowhere in the open sea. "Why?" "We're a government department," West said. "We're on a secret mission. Before we complete the mission, we can't reveal our whereabouts. Don't worry, we'll send you back after we complete the mission. Can you show us your ID?" Domingo asked carefully. Click. Just then, Klaus, who was standing on the roof and smoking, pulled the barrel of his gun. Everyone glanced at Klaus before turning back to West. "Right, what did you say just now?" West pretended not to hear. No, nothing. Can you arrange a few rooms for us? We need to rest. We don't have many rooms on the yacht, so we can only give you 2 rooms. Okay, no problem. Domingo and the others knew that they had no right to refuse or make any requests. They all accepted West's arrangement. Klaus, bring them to the cabins to rest. Domingo and the others had fear on their faces as they followed Klaus. Their minds were filled with many thoughts. After Klaus brought them to the cabins, he said, "This and the one next to it are your rooms. Come out for dinner at 7. If you're bored in the cabins, you can go to the deck to get some fresh air. Don't go to the engine room." With that, Klaus turned and left. Domingo and the others heaved a sigh of relief. There were 2 bunk beds in the cabin, which could fit 4 people. The other room was the same. Other than the 2 bunk beds, there was no other furniture. There was also a round sealed glass window. The lights in the cabin were dim. "I think we might have encountered pirates," Domingo said carefully in a low voice. "What? Pirates?" Everyone's expression changed. They had sensed it long ago. It was just that Domingo had pointed it out first. Chapter 1075. Why change the name? Alger asked, confused. "If people find out that your uncle is the boss of the famous energy company CCR, what do you think the pirates will do to you?" Domingo asked. "My uncle won't be stingy with the ransom," Alger said. "What happens after that?" "After that? Hee. My uncle will use the cruelest method to take revenge on the pirates who dare to extort him. So, to prevent you from leaking their information, the pirates will most likely kill you after getting the ransom. Of course, there's us too." Alger's expression changed. Flustered, he asked, "What should we do?" "We'll all change our personal information," Domingo said. "We'll pretend that we're middle-class kids out for fun. That way, they won't extort us. Maybe, but the amount won't be that high." "It doesn't matter how much it is," Alger said. "I just want to go back safely." "That's the problem," Domingo said. "Do you think a middle-class family can take revenge on the pirates?" "No. So, if they're extorting a middle-class family, there's no need for them to kill us. Our chances of survival will increase greatly." Everyone found it reasonable. However, they did not know that their conversation had already been overheard by West and the others. "Did you find out?" West asked. "Yes," Lisa said. "The boss of CCR, Shannon Layton. He has a nephew, Alger Layton." "What about the others?" "Domingo, 22 years old. He dropped out of university in his first year and started a small company. Zoran is 20 years old. He's also from a rich family. Emily is 19, Zoran's girlfriend. Fios is 20, the daughter of the boss of Odicus & Company. The yacht they rented is a large yacht from the Hawaiian Yacht Company. They rented it the day before yesterday for 5 days," Lisa said. "The basic information is true." West nodded. "Continue observing them. Although we can basically eliminate the suspicion, they're still outsiders. Don't let them cause trouble for us. Oh, tell them it's time for dinner. Mr. West, the president is still enjoying the breeze on the rooftop. Should we call him?" Let's call him," West said. Even though Qin Zhao didn't want to eat dinner, West felt that he still had to remind Qin Zhao. 5 people came out of the cabin. Although there weren't many people on the deck, these people all looked fearsome. They were obviously equipped with guns. At this moment, there was a sudden thud in front of them. A figure landed in front of them. The 5 of them were shocked. They looked up and saw a little girl standing on the rooftop. Riisa looked at everyone and said, I didn't push him down. He fell down by himself. Chen Zhao stood up shakily, clutching his head and shaking it hard. Seeing this, West said to Klaus, take him back to the cabin. When Domingo and the others saw Chen Zhao being dragged into the cabin, their hearts pounded. Who was this Asian? Why did he offend these pirates? It seemed like he was treated very poorly on this ship. This caused everyone to feel anxious, and they didn't dare to have any other thoughts for the time being. Otherwise, these people would treat them the same way they treated the Asian. Even a little girl was so vicious. She'd pushed someone down from the rooftop, which was more than 10 meters high. Perhaps he wouldn't die, but he'd definitely be hurt. Kids, let's eat in the dining room, West said gently. Don't take what happened just now to heart. At the same time, Lisa was beside Chen Zhao. President, I was just acting. Please don't blame me. Chen Zhao rubbed his forehead and waved his hand. Got it. Don't bother me. Let me have some peace. An entire day passed. The waves didn't lessen. Instead, they grew stronger. Chen Zhao's seasickness also worsened. He had no energy at all. Let's eat. You guys go too. When Lisa came to the dining room, everyone at the big table in the dining room was dead silent. Domingo's group of 5, in particular, buried their heads in dinner. They didn't even dare to make a sound. Actually, she'd pushed Chen Zhao down to intimidate these people. She didn't want them to cause any trouble on the ship. Hi, I'm Riisa. Can you tell me your names? Riisa greeted Domingo's group warmly. The 5 looked up and exchanged glances. Then, they gave her the fake names that they'd agreed on. Smiling, Riisa sat beside Domingo. Honesty is my first requirement when making friends, right? Lisa put Domingo's ID card in front of him, and Domingo touched his pocket. He realized that he had no idea when Riisa had taken his ID. I hate dishonest people, Riisa said. Do you know how I treat dishonest people? Riisa, they're guests, West reminded her. Mr. West, is the mincing machine on the deck still usable? The last time it was used was to mince fish, right? I think so. Anyway, it's not a human. Pooh, Klaus put down his knife. Riisa, we're at the dining table. Can we change the topic? Domingo's group was about to piss their pants. Riisa felt the same way she'd felt when facing Chen Zhao before. Now, she felt it from the 5 kids. Riisa seemed to enjoy finding pleasure from them. I'll give you a chance. Answer my question again. What's your name? The 5 didn't have any training. Hearing Riisa's trick, they were completely dumbfounded. They didn't dare to continue lying. One by one, they took the initiative to state their names and identities. Good girls. Riisa smiled evilly. The people from the association looked at Riisa, finding her abrupt. Riisa was only 14 years old, but she sounded like an elder to Domingo's group. Let's eat, Riisa said. What's dinner tonight? Sardines and grilled steak. I like it. At this moment, in the eyes of Domingo and the others, Riisa had become a little witch. After the 5 finished eating, they obediently returned to their rooms. The 2 girls didn't go to the next room. Instead, the 5 of them sat together. Chapter 1076. Everyone on the ship gave them only one feeling, evil. That's right, evil. What do we do now? I've seen it, Domingo said. There's a lifeboat on this ship. If we can get that lifeboat, we might have a chance to escape. That lifeboat is too small, Alger said. It can't take us back to Hawaii. No, we just need to escape from these pirates. We don't have to return to Hawaii. What do you mean? Other than the lifeboat, we also have to get communication equipment. But how do we get the lifeboat and communication equipment? They all have guns in their hands. No rush, Domingo said. They don't plan to kill us for now, so we can plan slowly. First, we have to get familiar with them and gain their trust. It seems very interesting. Riisa looked at the scene of the 5 people discussing on the monitor and said with great interest. You can do whatever you want, as long as you don't go overboard, West said casually. Also, don't disturb the president. I think it's best for him to be like this. It wasn't that West had any ulterior motives. Chen Zhao just couldn't stay idle. It was just like the first day. An hour after boarding the ship, he started all sorts of activities. He didn't think he had the energy to deal with Chen Zhao, who was energetic the entire day. Thus, he felt that it wasn't completely bad for Chen Zhao to be muddle-headed like this before they disembarked. Okay. Lisa shrugged. A bunch of energetic young people. West felt that he was old, so both Chen Zhao and Lisa were young people in his eyes. The waves seemed to be getting stronger. The Conqueror kept moving forward in the wind and waves. Chen Zhao didn't know how long he'd slept for. Anyway, his head was getting more and more painful and he couldn't even sleep well. He opened his eyes and looked out the window. It was still pitch black outside and the sound of waves was endless. Chen Zhao was a doctor. He could treat most diseases. However, he was also helpless against a physiological reaction like seasickness. He had medicine for seasickness, but it wasn't very effective. On one hand, it was because he was resistant to it. On the other hand, the medicine wasn't right. Motion sickness, air sickness, and seasickness were all physiological reactions. To put it simply, they were natural. This kind of physiological reaction was not something that could be alleviated by taking medicine. Some people had stronger symptoms of dizziness, similar to menstrual cramps, which were difficult to eradicate. Chen Zhao wobbled out of the cabin. It was too stuffy in the cabin. He thought of going out on deck to get some air. When he reached the deck, he saw that there were already people at the edge. It was a strange woman. Chen Zhao's mind was in a mess. He rubbed his forehead and stepped forward. Who are you? Fios turned to look at Chen Zhao and frowned. Just then, Chen Zhao felt his stomach churn again. He crawled to the edge and vomited. Chen Zhao felt even worse than when he was shot. Chen Zhao would rather be shot a dozen times now than suffer like this. Chen Zhao wiped the corner of his mouth and then his clothes. He usually paid a lot of attention to his appearance. He had never been so unkempt. Chen Zhao waddled into the cockpit. At the moment, a member of the Lightning team was steering. Guild leader, why are you here? Shoot me, I feel terrible. Ha! The member looked at Chen Zhao, dumbfounded. I said, shoot me in the head. It's best if you can knock me out. Guild leader. Are you serious? Hurry. Chen Zhao grabbed his assistant's arm, his body still shaking uncontrollably. The member raised the gun and pointed it at Chen Zhao's head. Guild leader, then I'll really shoot. Hurry. What are you blabbering about? Bang! Chen Zhao fell to the ground. Fios, who was on the deck, saw the scene. However, she had her own explanation for what she saw. She thought that Chen Zhao had gotten into an argument with that person after entering the cabin and that person had shot Chen Zhao. These people are so cruel. However, the strange thing was that the man stood up again. Wasn't he shot in the head? Why did he stand up again? Chen Zhao rubbed his forehead. Small caliber guns were indeed useless against him. Now, he just hoped that the bullets from the large-caliber guns could give him a concussion and let him sleep. Don't you have a large-caliber gun? Guild leader, there are. Should I get someone to bring a large-caliber gun over? Okay. Hurry. The member was speechless. It was the first time someone had made such a request. Chen Zhao didn't care about other people's feelings at all. His guild leader's brain was indeed strange. The member took the walkie-talkie and informed his friend. Not long after, another team member arrived. It seemed that this friend had been sleeping before. Guild leader, the member greeted too. Chen Zhao's body was swaying with the boat. Where's the gun? Guild leader, the large-caliber gun is a sniper rifle. I haven't assembled it yet. I brought a machine gun. It might be effective. Do you want to try? Sure, I'll try with the machine gun. Guild leader, go outside. Otherwise, if the bullet bounces back, we'll be in trouble. Oh. Chen Zhao took a few steps back and stood at the door. Don't hit your eyes. It hurts. Got it. Thud, thud, thud. Chen Zhao tilted his head back and fell backward. Then he knocked his head on the deck, which was a few meters away. Phew. Looks like it worked. The guild leader fell asleep. Send the guild leader back to his room. FIOS looked at the people and dragged the man into the cabin. These people are cold-blooded butchers. FIOS felt chills all over her body. When they killed, they didn't hide at all. They did it right in front of her. God bless that poor guy. She hoped that he could rest in peace. The next day the wind and waves didn't calm down. Instead, they got stronger and the boat undulated even more. When Emily got up, she saw FIOS curled up in a corner, wrapped in a sheet. She was shivering all the time. FIOS, are you not feeling well? Emily noticed that Fios's face was pale. FIOS raised her head and looked at Emily. Emily, I saw that Asian get shot last night. What happened? I was on the deck for some fresh air and saw that Asian look uncomfortable. Then he got into an argument with the people in the cockpit. Then they shot him with a machine gun. Chapter 1077. Ah. When Chen Zhao stood up, he rubbed his forehead. His seasickness didn't subside, but he felt that it was better after sleeping. When he walked out of the cabin, he saw the opposite door open as well. Amelia and Fiona came out. When Emily saw Chen Zhao, she froze for a moment. Then she turned to FIOS. FIOS, on the other hand, looked at Chen Zhao in shock. You're not dead. How can you say that? Who are you? Chen Zhao walked out of the cabin by himself. A cold breeze blew over. It was still February, so the temperature at sea was quite low. But to Chen Zhao, it was refreshing. The coolness was just right. It would be even better if it could be lower. Emily and FIOS walked out with a lot on their minds. Then they saw Chen Zhao take off his pants. What's he doing? It's so cold. Does he want to freeze to death? FIOS asked, blushing. Then they saw Chen Zhao climb up the fence and jump into the sea. Is he crazy? Is he really going to kill himself? How cold was the sea? Plus, the ship was sailing now. It wasn't still. How was he going to get on the ship after jumping? Emily and FIOS ran to the edge of the ship. Then they saw that Chen Zhao had already landed at the back and disappeared in the blink of an eye. As for Chen Zhao, he wasn't in a hurry at all. It was fine as long as he could see the ship. He jumped into the sea mainly to clear his head. As expected, he was much more clear-headed after entering the water. The cool seawater stimulated his skin and revived him. He should have gone into the sea earlier. Then he wouldn't have to suffer for so long. Chen Zhao swam to the back of the ship and climbed back in. After returning to the cabin, he changed his clothes and lay down to sleep again. Fios, Erica, what are you doing here? Domingo, Zoran, and Alger walked out of the cabin and saw the two pale-faced men and women on the deck. We just saw that Asian jump into the sea. Jump into the sea. Why did he jump into the sea? He must have killed himself because he couldn't take the torture of being a pirate, Emily said. The three men glanced at each other, their hearts heavy. At this time, Lisa came over. Hi, how are you guys? You don't look well. Did you not sleep well last night? It's really hard to sleep on such a bumpy boat, Reisa said to herself. No one spoke and just looked at Raisha in silence. Shall we play a game? What game? A survival game. Lisa took out a revolver. Have you heard of the Russian roulette? Everyone's faces froze in an instant. The Russian roulette was not referring to the roulette wheel in the casino, but the roulette wheel for revolvers. Including me, there are exactly 6 people, and there's a bullet inside. Reisa opened the cylinder, and everyone saw the bullet inside. Then Reisa turned the gun and pulled the trigger on her temple. However, there were no gunshots. Everyone didn't know if they were disappointed or relieved. If it's a single spin, then one person will die every time. That would be too boring. So, everyone can spin once. This way, we can play longer. Everyone has a 1/6 chance. It won't be like the traditional Russian roulette, where the game ends in one round. Reisa said, who's next? No one took the gun. Reisa looked at the crowd and asked, no one took the gun. Then I can only order to throw you into the sea. Domingo grabbed the gun from Reisa's hand, but he didn't point it at himself. He was hesitating if he should seize the opportunity to control Reisa and force the pirates to give them the lifeboat. Now is a good chance. Reisa smiled like a demon. Domingo shivered. He didn't know if he was frightened by Reisa's smile or because of the cold wind. In the end, Domingo pointed the gun at his temple, but his hand was shaking. Crack, a free pass. Domingo cried with joy. It was good to be alive. Okay, next one, pass to the left, Reisa said. Reisa's fighting ability had been fully awakened. Her smile was full of evil and excitement. On Domingo's left was Orpheus. Holding the revolver with trembling hands, Orpheus pointed it at Reisa with both hands. Do you dare to shoot? Reisa smiled at Orpheus. Orpheus' body suddenly stopped trembling, and his eyes became fierce. She didn't want to stay in this damn place anymore. Even if she died at sea, it would be better than staying with this little demon. Get on the boat, now, right now, or I'll shoot. No one had thought that Domingo wouldn't dare to do this. Orpheus, a rich girl, actually dared to do it. Hurry up, do you hear me? Orpheus looked in other directions, wanting to attract other people's attention. There were people around, but no one paid attention to her. No one seemed to care about what was happening here. And no one cared that Reisa was being held at gunpoint. Why do you think they'll compromise with you just because you took me hostage? You. Aren't you one of them? Reisa's smile gradually faded, and a tear streaked down her face. You know, not long ago, I played this game with my companions, and in the end, I was the only one who survived. Everyone froze and looked at Reisa in astonishment. Do you think I really like playing this game with you? Reisa choked and said, I just want to be free as soon as possible. I don't want to play anymore. I want to die. My parents, my family, and my best friend died at gunpoint like this. All you see is me forcing you to play the game, but do you think I really want to play with you? Only then did everyone realize that this girl was a victim like them. No wonder no one cared whether this girl was taken hostage or not, and no one cared whether she lived or died. She was lucky, but also unfortunate. Every time they gather 6 people, they will start playing this game until the last person survives, and then wait for the next time to gather 6 people. Not far away, those who heard Reisa's words all rolled their eyes. Is this girl a drama queen? It's so boring on the boat that she actually came up with this method to play. I hope these young people won't be ruined by her. Chapter 1078. Poor child, Fios said softly. However, the next moment, a gunshot pulled everyone back to reality. Lisa fell to the ground. Everyone stared at Fios in astonishment. Fios, what are you doing? You killed a child. Emily screamed. A genius girl who passed the Mensa test and was invited to many famous universities at the age of 12. She's an orphan, Fios said. She said that her parents were killed on the ship. Obviously, she lied, said Fios. But she's just a child. She's a demon, Fios said. Just then, Lisa stood up again. Fiona wasn't surprised at all. Fios Leon passed the Mensa test at the age of 10. Among the geniuses in the past 10 years, she's second only to me, Lisa said with a smile. Fios looked at Risa. How did you become a pirate? Looks like you're not as smart as I thought, Lisa said with a smile. Just then, a white line appeared in front of them. Then, the conqueror let out a loud whistle. A huge wave is coming. Everyone, get ready. Lisa turned around and looked at the incoming wave. Such a huge wave. It's at least 15 meters high. No, it's 18 meters. Fios looked at the wave and said in a competitive tone, looks like you're not as good as I thought. Bang! The wave was already crashing toward them. First, Zoran was thrown out of the deck by the wave. He screamed and flew away. No one could save him. In the face of the force of nature, the power of humans seemed so insignificant. The others only survived because they held on to the railings tightly. The conqueror was also thrown off course by the wave. Fios found that Lisa was able to resist the impact of the huge wave without holding on to any handrails. Suddenly, a huge black pillar appeared in front of them. The black pillar stretched across the sky and covered everything in front of it. That thing had a very awesome name, the Eye of the Storm. The only way to see the Eye of the Storm was to observe it from near-Earth weather satellites. From the outside, they could only see a black pillar. Damn it, we can't go any closer, Fios yelled. Domingo, get into the cabin. Even without Fios's reminder, they knew that this was not a good place to stay. When Fios was about to enter the cabin, she suddenly saw something in front of her. There seemed to be a ship in the direction of the Eye of the Storm. Not just one, but many. However, those ships did not look like modern ships. They were hung with messy old sails, and their bodies were made of rotten wood. They were not sailing on the surface of the sea. Instead, they were riding on huge waves. That feeling was just like the legendary ghost ship. What is that? Ghost ship. Ghost ship. Prepare for battle. Someone on the ship shouted. Fios heard gunshots and bombs exploding. However, this was only the beginning. Soon, an even more intense impact followed. Bang! A ghost ship slammed into the Conqueror, causing it to tilt to the side. Then, another Spectre ship crashed into it. The Conqueror completely covered the surface of the sea. Abandoned ship, abandoned ship. All Fios could hear was chaos and noise. Then she was thrown out of the ship. Cold, chaos, and darkness spread all over Fios's body. Suddenly, Fios felt a hand grab her. Fios opened her eyes and saw that Risa was holding her hand in the sea. For some reason, Fios felt a surge of warmth, which kept her from freezing in the sea. Fios was trying her best to swing her arms, but the waves were too strong for her to do much. All she could do was drift. Just then, Fios saw another ship, a luxurious yacht. However, the yacht was heading toward the center of the storm. Ava, the Black Witch, was on the yacht. Adam had witnessed all of this. He knew how powerful his mother was. However, this was also the first time he saw his mother summon 6 ghost ships. The Conqueror was torn apart and capsized. What a terrifying power. Adam, I've avenged you. Are you satisfied now? Of course, Mother. Adam's smile was a bit forced. But, Helly's also, Don't worry, she won't die. After all, she's my daughter, my most outstanding and perfect work. How can she die here so easily? Ava said calmly, let's go. Nasamara is right in front of us. I don't want to miss the approach of Agama, which happens once every 159 years. After all, I don't have a third 159 years. Adam's heart skipped a beat. He looked up at Ava. Mother. Ava turned to look at Adam with a smile. Is it strange? I'm 360 years old. How, do you want to ask me how I can live so long? Adam lowered his head. Of course he wanted to know. Living for 360 years. This was an unimaginable lifespan. There are many ways to live for 360 years. For example, the method I use is to constantly change body parts and internal organs. Except for the brain, I have changed many things. This is the benefit of alchemy. Of course, the risk of changing the head is too great. I have only changed it twice, and each time the success rate was less than 10%. But I was very lucky and succeeded both times. Then Can I learn? You don't need it right now, and you're not strong enough. Ava gently pinched Adam's chin. In the past 3 centuries, I have been constantly pursuing ways to extend my lifespan. I think Nasamara Island will give me the final answer. Mother, what exactly is on Nasamara Island? I don't know either. My ancestors' ambitions were even greater than mine. I don't know what they wanted to do at that time. An excited look appeared on Ava's face, but, just thinking about slaughtering tens of thousands of people for that plan, I feel my blood boiling. That must be a plan that shocked me, and I can hear that voice in my bloodline, telling me to take over and perfect that plan. Mother. There aren't that many people for you to slaughter now. Adam's voice was trembling. Even he was afraid of his mother's terrifying and dark heart. If it was before World War II, tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of people dying would not be news. But this was a civilized society. Chapter 1079. There's an island up ahead. Swim faster if you don't want to die. Risa's voice echoed in Orpheus's ears. Fiona had been conscious the whole time. Looking from afar, there was indeed an island up ahead. However, the island seemed to be at the center of the storm. She knew very well that if she passed out, Risa would definitely leave her behind. She didn't know why, but she felt that Risa was completely unafraid of the wind and waves, not even the cold. Every time a wave hit, Fios felt like she was sinking into the deep sea. But Risa would pull her out of the sea every time. When she resurfaced, she suddenly found that the wind and waves had calmed down. Even the sunlight became bright. She felt a surge of warmth in her heart. She was only a few hundred meters away from the island. Compared to the wind and waves just now, a few hundred meters didn't seem to be a problem anymore. Fios swam as hard as she could and finally reached the shore. Lying on the soft sand, Fios enjoyed the warm sunlight and the fine sand. She enjoyed the long-lost peace and the beautiful weather. Fios suddenly thought of Risa and sat up abruptly. Risa slowly walked out of the sea, dragging a big fish that was as big as her. Why, aren't you hungry? But, we don't have a fire. Go get some firewood. For what? To make a fire. But how do we make a fire? You have an IQ of 158. Risa glanced at Fios. Fios was a bit annoyed. Let's see how you make a fire. Fios collected firewood from the beach. Then she piled it in front of Risa. Then it was time to watch the show. She wanted to see how Risa made a fire. Risa came to the pile of firewood and snapped her fingers. The firewood was suddenly ignited. Fios's eyeballs almost popped out. How did you do it? You want to know? Fios nodded. I'm not telling you. Risa grilled the fish proudly. Fios noticed that Risa wasn't sad about the shipwreck at all. Aren't you worried about your situation at all? Why should I? Then you don't worry about your friends. Nope. You have no feelings for them at all. Well, a little, but not too deep. Besides, if I can't die, they can't die either, Risa said matter-of-factly. You're really confident in them, but this is a vast ocean, and there's a superstorm outside. We're lucky to be able to survive. Do you think your companions will be as lucky? Risa glanced at Fios. Are you sure it's because of luck? Earlier, I saw a ghost ship. That can't be real, right? Was it just a hallucination? Fios had always been brooding over this. She felt that she was hallucinating because she was on the verge of death. In fact, some experts and scholars had analyzed that the so-called ghost ships were illusions that people had when they faced huge waves. Fios did not know if what she saw was real or just an illusion. But that scene was very clear. It was so clear that Fios could still remember it even now. It's true, Lisa said indifferently. You're lying. There's no specter ship. Fine, you're right. Risa glanced at Fios and did not argue with her. Alger was floating on the sea. Just then, a modified armed ship appeared in front of him. A ladder dropped down from the ship. Alger immediately climbed onto the ship. Uncle. Alger saw a dignified man standing in front of him. His uncle, Channon Laidon, was actually here. Who allowed you to act on your own? Uncle, the Laidons have been hunting the Black Witch for 3 centuries. This is the first time we've been so close to her. You shouldn't have let ordinary people get involved. Channon Laidon's eyes were like torches, and he had a cold aura around him. Domingo is with me too. I'm even more worried because of him. That kid has too many thoughts, Channon Laidon said. Domingo is my friend. Your friend won't lead you to your death. We found the Black Witch's whereabouts, so we immediately followed her after informing you. Are you sure the Black Witch is heading toward the center of the storm? Yes, I'm sure. I saw her ship enter the storm with my own eyes. She even used magic to sink the pirate ship that carried me. Pirate ship? Yes, the ship we rented sank in the storm. Then, a group of pirates rescued it. Of course, those pirates aren't good people either. Just then, a crew member hurried over with a pair of binoculars. Boss, there's a drowned person ahead. Channon Laidon took the binoculars and saw a person lying on a swimming ring in the raging sea. He held a bottle of wine in one hand and a barbecue in the other. Laydon put down the binoculars and rubbed his eyes. Then he looked again. Yes, that person was actually enjoying good food and wine in the storm. Is there an Asian on that pirate ship? Laydon asked. Alger froze for a moment before nodding. There is one, but that Asian doesn't seem to be a pirate. He's also someone who got into trouble and committed suicide by jumping into the sea. Laydon handed the binoculars to Alger. Is it that man? Yes, it's that man. Pull that person up, Laydon said. A moment later, Chen Zhao was pulled up. You are. Chen Zhao really didn't have much of an impression of Alger. Alger had seen Chen Zhao a few times on the Conqueror. However, Chen Zhao was in a daze every time and didn't notice Alger at all. Don't you recognize me? Alger asked, looking at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao combed his hair and then poured the water out of his ears. Can I wash up? I need to change my clothes now, Chen Zhao said. After soaking in the sea for a long time, the seawater had salted after coming ashore. It felt very uncomfortable on his skin. If you want to wash and change your clothes, that's fine. I can even provide you with food, but you have to answer my question first. No comment. Chen Zhao didn't even know who Alger was. Laydon stood at the side silently. He frowned and kept staring at Chen Zhao. This man was too calm, both at sea and on the ship. Chapter 1080. UCLA Professor, Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao rubbed his forehead. He wanted to jump into the sea again, because his seasickness was starting to act up again on the ship. One of the subordinates checked and then nodded at Laydon. What's wrong? You don't look well. Alger's expression darkened when he saw Chen Zhao board the boat. You don't look well. Seasickness. Air. Chen Zhao rubbed his forehead. Alger and Laydon were even more certain that Chen Zhao had nothing to do with the pirates. After all, a seasick person couldn't become a pirate. The waves grew stronger. Chen Zhao's head sank and he fell to the ground. When Chen Zhao woke up again, he found himself lying in a cabin. The sun was bright outside the window and the ship stopped shaking. Chen Zhao looked at the time. He seemed to have slept for 2 hours. He walked out of the cabin and onto the deck. Chen Zhao found that the ship was parked a few hundred meters away from an island. Laydon was making arrangements to land on the island. Chen Zhao looked at the island. It was huge. Mountains stacked on top of each other and blue shirts covered it. Seagulls soared in the sky and the water was blue. But when he turned his head, he could see a layer of dark clouds outside. The island seemed to be covered in a storm forever. The inside and outside of the island were 2 different worlds. You're awake. Alger glanced at Chen Zhao, who had walked out. Where is this? Alger frowned. This man didn't seem to be grateful at all for saving him. You better stay on the ship. This island isn't a place you should set foot on. Judging from their tone, this might be the Nasamara Island he was looking for. They seemed to know of Nasamara Island's existence too. However, he didn't know who they were. Why were they looking for Nasamara Island? I refuse. I want to go on the island. There must be treasure on the island. Don't think about taking it all for yourself. Alger sneered. Even if there really is treasure, how much do you think you'll get? They all had guns and there were many of them. No matter what, Chen Zhao wouldn't get anything. Laydon glanced at him. If you want to come, then come. If you encounter danger, don't expect us to save you. The thing I'm least afraid of is danger. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone to sea. Ha ha. The danger here isn't as dangerous as you imagine. Even the most violent seas aren't as dangerous as the things on this island, Alger said. Everyone boarded the raft and reached the shore. Charning Layton's men found something. Boss, someone started a fire here before. There are still sparks on the charcoal. He should have left not long ago. Chen Zhao glanced at the grass in the distance and rubbed his forehead. Fios and Rissa were hiding in the bushes. They immediately saw Channon Layton and Alger's armed ship, so they hid immediately. Fios wanted to scream, but Rissa covered her mouth and dragged her into the bushes. This group of people came with ill intentions. But Alger is inside, and so is Mr. Channon, Fios said. Why didn't you let me scream? Didn't you notice? They're all armed. They don't look like normal people. Who do you think their guns are for? You pirates, of course. What a joke. Without any communication, how did Channon Layton know about the existence of the pirates? Rissa analyzed calmly. It's clear that they were prepared and definitely not for us. It's most likely that Alger is Channon Layton's sentry. Mr. Channon Layton is a billionaire. Don't think that everyone is as cruel and evil as you pirates. Don't be naive. At least 5 of the armed men behind Channon Layton are internationally wanted criminals. Nonsense. Do you see the man with a wolf tattoo on his arm? Do you remember the bombing suspect in New York Square? Hearing Rissa's reminder, Fios's brain started working rapidly. As a genius with outstanding intelligence, she had her own way of thinking. If not for Rissa's reminder, Fios might not have accessed the storage in her brain. But after hearing Rissa's words, Fios dug out a deep memory. It's him. Looks like you're not completely stupid. You finally remembered. Don't keep belittling me. I'm only 1 point lower than you in the Mensa test. A point lower is still a point lower. Moreover, I took the test when I was 5 years old, while you took the test when you were 10. So, the difference in our intelligence isn't just a point, we're not even on the same level. It was the first time Fios had been so speechless. After a long while, she finally said, IQ doesn't mean everything. Your IQ is higher than mine, but your EQ is too low. Low EQ. I just don't want to beat around the bush, Rissa sneered. Rissa could already see Chen Zhao in the group. Similarly, Chen Zhao also saw Rissa. Both of them smiled knowingly. That Asian found us, right? Why didn't he say anything? Fios asked, confused. He's your accomplice. That's not right. He seemed to have been tortured by you on the ship. What's your relationship? Fios was really confused by their relationship. If they were companions, why would the pirates shoot him with guns? Moreover, after he was killed, he appeared in front of him alive the next day. Also, didn't he jump off the ship to commit suicide? Why didn't he die? All kinds of questions rose in her mind. Only when Charning Layton and Alger left with the group did the two let out sighs of relief. Not long after they left, Fios was about to come out. Rissa stopped her. Don't go out. Why? Rissa pointed at the sea. 2 more ships are coming. Your old friends are in them too. My old friends. Fios soon understood what Rissa meant. It was none other than Zoran and Emily who had landed. Behind them were dozens of fully armed people. Zoran and Emily were also fully armed. What's going on? Fios realized that her friend looked so unfamiliar. A moment ago, they were playing the role of the victim. But now, they were people with different thoughts. Looks like it's more complicated than I thought, Rissa mumbled. Chapter 1081. Charning Layton and Alger stopped. They also noticed Zoran and Emily's men behind them. Ha! Zoran isn't dead. Alger was also surprised. Originally, Zoran was the first to be washed away by the huge wave. Everyone thought he was dead for sure. They didn't expect him to reappear in front of them. And he even met up with Emily. You know them? Charning Laidon asked. Friend. He doesn't look simple either. Alger was a little dazed. Zoran and Emily also saw the big team in front of them. Both sides had equal numbers and equipment. They were all equipped with some conventional weapons. Enemy? Charning Laidon asked. I don't know. I'll go check, Alger said. He walked over to Zoran and Emily. Zoran, Emily, I didn't expect to meet you again. Alger, I also didn't expect to see you here. Zoran smiled at Alger and the people behind him. They were no longer as distressed and desolate as they were when they were kidnapped by pirates. Everyone was in high spirits, and their eyes shone with a sharp light. Alger vaguely remembered that they first met in the gym. Alger had received military training since he was young, so his body was very strong. Zoran, on the other hand, was the record holder of some fitness events in the gym. So Alger issued a challenge. After a while, the two got to know each other. Then, Zoran brought Alger to meet his girlfriend, Emily. You approached me on purpose? Zoran asked. No, before this, I didn't know your identity at all. Of course, I don't know now either. Who are you? Then who are you? Neither side was willing to say a word more about their identities. They weren't sure if they were enemies or not. Alger's eyes shone as he looked at Zoran and Emily. After a while, Alger said tentatively, Ava. Zoran and Emily suddenly reacted. At the same time, the people behind them raised their guns and pointed at Alger. Because of this name, both sides were at daggers drawn. Are you the Black Witch's men? Alger asked. No, we're hunters, Zoran and Emily said. We are hunters too, Alger said. That's impossible. How could I not know? Since ancient times, only our Altheo family is the enemy of the Sansiko family. You're not the pursuer, Zoran said righteously. Ancient times. Our family has been pursuing the Black Witch Ava for 300 years. Alger said, is this considered ancient? What family are you from? Leighton family. Our family used to be the leader of the Revival Society, but it was destroyed because of the Black Witch. Since then, we've been chasing after the Black Witch, but we haven't succeeded for 300 years. That's right. So, that's how it is. It seems we can be considered allies, Zoran said with a smile. However, be it him or Emily, or Alger's side, they were still wary of each other. They did not lower the guns in their hands. Alger said, what's up with the Sansiko family you mentioned? And the Athelis? Do you know where this island is? Alger shook his head. I don't know. This is the hometown of the Athelis and Sansiko families, Nasamara Island, a civilization that has been destroyed. Once, our two families were the rulers of Nasamara's civilization. We worked together to rule and manage Nasamara, Zoran said. Zoran said, however, the Sansiko clan carried out an evil plan. They destroyed Nasamara with their own hands and killed countless people. Since then, the Altheo clan has been pursuing the descendants of the Sansiko clan for generations, swearing to exterminate them. According to what Zoran said, they were not enemies, but allies. At least, they had the same goal, to kill the Black Witch. Of course, this did not mean they trusted each other. To put it bluntly, their current conversation was only a one-sided story. Then why did the Black Witch come here? I don't know, Zoran said. Maybe it's the Sansiko family's evil plan. The Sansiko family only has the Black Witch and her children left. As long as we kill them, our mission will be over. As for their evil plans, I don't care. I think we need to cooperate sincerely, so I don't want to hide anything. I didn't hide anything, Zoran said seriously. But what about you, Domingo, and Fios? Are they in cahoots with you? Domingo is from another hunter family. He's in cahoots with our Layton family. Fios isn't. She's just an ordinary girl. Then she is now. She should have died at sea, Alger said. Alger said, after all, you saw the situation back then. Under such circumstances, even if I wanted to save her, there was nothing I could do. What a pity. She's a good girl. So now, what do we do? Shall we go together? Alger asked tentatively. If you're willing, we can cooperate with you. Of course, this is only temporary. If you're not willing, we'll split up. We're facing the Black Witch, so I don't think there's anything wrong with working together. At least, we have a higher chance of winning, right? Alger said. Then who will lead who? If there's any disagreement, we can discuss it. If not, we'll go our separate ways. Okay, I agree, Zoran said. He turned to Emily. What do you think? I think it's acceptable too. Okay, it's settled then. Zoran and Emily suddenly realized that Chen Zhao was also in Alger's team. Why is he here? We saved him at sea. Can he be trusted? I don't know, Alger said casually. Alger casually said, if I discover anything wrong or suspicious about him, I won't hesitate to give him a bullet. Chen Zhao glanced at both sides. He heard everything they said, but he didn't care. He also wanted to see if these two hunter families could really kill the Black Witch. If they could, it would save him a lot of trouble. However, he didn't know how his subordinates were doing. Of course, he wasn't worried that they would die at sea. They could all deal with the storm in a short period of time. Chapter 1082. West was wearing a life jacket and hugging a lifebuoy. He let the waves hit him. He wasn't in a hurry to find a way out. With his stamina, he couldn't swim anywhere no matter how hard he struggled. So, he waited for help with peace of mind. Soon, a few figures appeared on the surface of the sea. Hi! West raised his arm unhurriedly and waved. Amon carried a dozen people to West's side. Amon's body was 70 meters long, so his back was very wide. It was enough for the people of the association to sleep on. After West climbed up, Alice looked at him and said, Mr. West, why did you all act the same when I found you? Didn't you think about saving yourselves at all? Cuz turned his head. Not long ago, when Amon had found him, he was also like West, lying in the lifebuoy in the sea breeze. He wasn't anxious at all. His team members were the same too. They didn't know that their boss was the same. So, habits were really contagious. No matter what the situation was, they wouldn't panic. Even when others thought they were in a hopeless situation, they were still calm. Because I know you'll find me. Do a count and see if anyone's missing. Everyone's here except the president and Risa, West said. Then let's go around again and see if we can find Risa, Alice said. As for their president, they weren't worried at all. Since Amon had come to find them, it must be Qin Zhao's idea. So, they didn't have to worry about Qin Zhao. Is Risa dead? She might not be able to make it. No, West said. The device she's wearing still has a signal, but it's too far away. I can't locate her. Everyone in the association wore a watch-like device. It could send location and heart rate data to others. Apart from Qin Zhao, it was because he didn't need it. It was also because the device couldn't measure his heart rate. But the data was sent through their own regional network and could be sent to each other. Locating them depended on satellite navigation. Due to the bad weather, the satellite navigation was affected, so they couldn't locate Risa. What do we do now? FIOS asked. Wait for someone. Lisa glanced at her watch, and everyone's vital signs were full. It seemed like they were all safe, but it made sense. If a newbie like him could be safe and sound, those old foxes would be even more so. Your pirate companions. Fiona's eyes flickered. She was starting to regret that she should have spoken up earlier. She would rather be with her former friends than with these pirates. I'm leaving. Don't even think about going anywhere, Risa said indifferently. You don't have the right to order me anymore. Your companions aren't here. Hee hee. Risa grabbed Fio's wrist tightly. Fiona tried to break free, but she felt a burning sensation on her wrist. Ah. What do you have in your hand? Let go of me. As long as you stay here obediently, you will not be harmed. However, if you dare to run, I guarantee that you will die a horrible death. Are you sure your companion is still alive? They would have died in the storm if they wanted to. They are still alive. I can guarantee that. After all, even you and I are alive. There is no reason for them to die at sea. FIOS did not think so. She believed that the reason why the two of them survived was because of their good luck. It was all because of their good luck. However, no one dared to guarantee that they would be able to survive the raging winds and huge waves. What they were facing was a murderous wave. Facing the force of nature, no one could guarantee that they could survive. At this moment, a person dragged his heavy body out of the sea. Fio's eyes lit up. Was it Domingo? Ignoring Risa's objection, FIOS rushed out of the bush. Domingo. Domingo was surprised to see FIOS. FIOS was still alive. It was really unexpected that she could actually survive in that kind of situation. Just then, Risa also came out. Domingo, who was walking toward FIOS, stopped and looked at Risa in confusion. FIOS, why are you with her? I was kidnapped by her. Risa stood where she was and looked at Domingo. You're not an ordinary person, are you? I don't know what you mean. Domingo narrowed his eyes and looked at Lisa. He was trying to figure out what she meant and her intentions. You have calluses between your thumb and index finger. That's from holding a gun for a long time, Risa said. You've had professional military training for a long time. FIOS stopped and looked at Domingo with a confused look. Domingo, you and Alger are together. She remembered that Domingo and Alger had a close relationship. This caused Fiona to have doubts as well. Her mind was in a complete mess right now. His few best friends seemed to have become so unfamiliar. Together. We can only say that we know each other and know each other's background. At this time, Domingo did not hide it anymore. He took the initiative to say, my family and his family are allies, but my family has been declining for a long time, while the Layton family has always been prosperous. I shoulder the mission of revitalizing my family. Aren't you afraid that I'll tell everyone what you're up to? FIOS asked a stupid question. Did you really pass the Mensa test? Risa rolled her eyes. Domingo smiled at FIOS. Do you know why I've been pursuing you? Why? Because of your mother's business, of course, my little princess, Domingo said with a smile. He looked very calm at the moment, as if he had been holding the words in for too long. So much so that he said it without any hesitation. I want to get your mother's wealth through you, and then use it to revitalize my family, Domingo said. You could keep pretending. Why did you stop now? First, I have my own plan. You're just a backup plan. Second. Domingo grinned. I can do it without you. As long as you give birth to my child, the plan can still go on. You're not necessary. Chapter 1083. Stupid Woman. They say that women with big breasts have no brains. You're a typical example. I really don't understand how you passed the Mensa test. Lisa was full of disdain, especially towards women with bigger breasts than her. She was full of hostility. Of course, most adult women in the world were her enemies. Did I say anything wrong? Obviously, he doesn't want to have a relationship with you and then have a baby with you, Risa said, rolling her eyes. You mean, he wants to rape me? But it's against the law. God, how stupid can this woman be? Risa yelled. He's not just going to rape you. He's going to detain you and make you have his baby. Fios felt sick to her stomach. She looked at Domingo in disgust. Domingo, I didn't know you were that kind of person. There are many things you don't know, Domingo said calmly. But as long as you're willing to cooperate with me, I can treat you well. Even if I die, I won't do what you want. Do you think you have the right to choose? Domingo said calmly as he strolled toward Fios. Don't come any closer. Or I won't go easy on you. Fios picked up a stone from the ground. What a sad old woman. Risa curled her lips. Did you just call me an old woman? Fios was furious. She could tolerate Lisa repeatedly provoking her, and she could tolerate Lisa calling her stupid. But she couldn't tolerate Risa calling her an old woman. This was something that absolutely could not be tolerated. It was the same for any woman. You are an old woman, Risa said proudly. Flat-breasted. Fios stared at Risa with her teeth clenched. Sure enough, only women knew the weaknesses of women. Risa was also furious. What she cared about the most was being called flat. I'm just young and haven't developed yet, Risa said. It's a symbol of my youth. Ha! I was already a B cup at your age, Fios said proudly. Fios said proudly, do you know, normal girls have at least A+ or B breasts at the age of 12 to 14, but you? Hee hee. You don't even have a dash. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Ha! Domingo realized that he was being ignored. The two women seemed to have forgotten about him when they were arguing. You two, shut up. Risa and Fios yelled at the same time. You're such an old woman. You flat-chested woman whose breasts will never develop. You two, shut up. Domingo was enraged. He also hated being ignored. He had never been a low-key person. He hoped that others would always take him as the center of attention. He wanted to be the focus of everyone. Whether it was good or bad, he didn't like being ignored. I'll kill whoever dares to ignore me. Domingo gritted his teeth as he glared at the two women. Risa turned to look at Domingo. You're just one person, and we're two. Is this enough? Domingo took out a pistol from his back. Fios looked at Domingo in fear. Do you have enough bullets? Lisa laughed. There are only two of you. Are you sure there are only two? Don't you want to look back? Ha! Don't play tricks like that in front of me. Domingo obviously didn't believe Risa's words. In his opinion, Risa's idea was very childish and ridiculous. However, Domingo noticed that Fios's expression began to change. From fear to surprise, and then to surprise. Domingo thought he knew Fios very well, even though she had a high IQ. She was smart, but she had always been naive because she rarely interacted with others. She couldn't act like this. Domingo turned around and saw a dozen people on the shoreline. Pirates! Not a single one of these pirates died. Domingo turned around and ran without thinking. He didn't think that he could deal with so many people. Moreover, these people killed people like flies. They were vicious and merciless, and they had excellent weapons and equipment. Domingo dove into the bushes and disappeared. Domingo felt bitter. The Layton family could easily gather dozens of people, but he was alone. But he could only be a loner, and he had to do everything by himself. If there was no comparison, there would be no harm. But precisely because of this comparison, Domingo's pride rose. One day, he would let those who looked down on him know how much of a failure they had been. West and the others came to Risa. He only glanced at the escaping Domingo. Why didn't you stop him? He has a gun in his hand. Lisa looked harmless. However, everyone in the association knew that Risa was an absolute little witch. Gun. Is that thing a threat to Lisa? In the association, apart from Chen Zhao, Risa was the only one who could be completely immune to normal guns. The mechanism of using a gun was to hit the end of the cartridge and trigger the gunpowder inside. Then, the gunpowder would expand and turn into potential energy to propel the bullet. However, Risa could directly absorb the heat from the gun. Therefore, the gun was less threatening to her than a slingshot. Where's the president? West asked. He thought that Chen Zhao was with Risa. He's in a group of people, Risa said in a low voice and told him what had happened. Fios stood not far away, watching these people anxiously. To be honest, she wanted to escape too. But she was afraid that if she escaped, she would encounter Fios on the island. For a moment Fios found that she had nowhere to go and nowhere to run. It was as if everyone had become untrustworthy, and everyone had become repulsive. What were those pirates discussing? They must be discussing some shady business. Among the five, Risa said, this woman is the only normal person. The other four are either unidentified or have other motives. The situation seems a bit complicated, West said. Those people should be hunters, Helios interrupted. Hunters? Everyone looked at Helios in surprise. When I first met my mother, she mentioned that we had to be careful of a family called the All-Yuri. This All-Yuri family is also a noble family in Nasamara. They've always been enemies with our family and the All-Yuri family, and they have a way to distinguish between people with our family's blood. So are they enemies or allies? Enemies, Helios said. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.